be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday.
President Trump trying to get Russia's leader to agree to a ceasefire like Ukraine already has, but Putin opposes the terms of that plan as the war rages.
Ukrainian drones targeted Russian energy facilities, but the governor of the Astrakhan region says the situation is under control. In Ukraine, air defenses have been called into action once again against Russian projectiles, including near the capital, Kyiv.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump also spoke on Air Force One flying back to Washington last night about controversial deportations.
I can tell you this, these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, hombres.
261 illegal immigrants were sent to El Salvador Saturday, some of them gang members, and some were sent under the rarely used Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
This wartime authority gives the president the power to deport non-citizens without a judicial hearing. On Saturday, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to stop the deportations to see if its invocation was legal. But the White House says two planes carrying alleged Venezuelan gang members were already in international airspace when the judge's ruling came down, so they argue they did not defy a court order.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. After midnight, the president posted on True Social some pardons that President Biden issued are void and no longer in effect, claiming they were signed by AutoPen and the president didn't even know about them. Those were preemptive pardons to shield members of the House committee that investigated the Capitol riot. The president's post suggests those lawmakers are now subject to investigation at the highest level. There's a lot of storm damage in the South and Midwest. The EPA reports at least 39 deaths.
This tornado outbreak started on Friday and lasted 3 days. We know it led to 53 total confirmed tornadoes so far. That number is expected to rise, but that's in at least 10 states.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Gordo, Alabama. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Morning Xtra, only on Xtra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los on a Monday, St. Patrick's Day. It kind of feels like a Hallmark holiday a little bit to me.
I'm a little disconnected from this because I thought that was on Saturday. Then I thought it was on Sunday.
Now you're realizing it's today.
Now I'm finding out it's today.
Well, I'll be damned. It's today. Yeah. I don't know much about St. Patrick's Day. I mean, I know you're supposed to wear green, and I didn't.
Get a green beer in you?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Some friends of mine, when Georgia Tech played over in Ireland.
Yeah, they took the trip to go see them. Yeah,
they did bring back some Irish whiskey, and I have that at home. You think that would work?
Bridge the gap at that point?
Maybe that'll qualify. Connect the dot, because I don't like beer, so
you can at least sell that you're Tug O'Cowart for the day.
For a day or something.
And we were in 2 volleyball tournaments this weekend. It was the Lucky Leprechaun, and then the other one was the Shamrock Scuffle. So I just assumed all weekend, we're playing over St. Patrick's Day. I didn't know.
Turns out, no. Yeah, I'm not sure why we celebrate this.
It's one of those amateur hour holidays where you want to go out drinking. It's like New Year's Eve.
It'd be different if Los had been correct and it's on Saturday or Sunday, then you've got a time to recover. If it's not like anybody can go out and just blow it out tonight, he'd be feeling low down tomorrow. God.
Well, it might be worth a try.
Yeah, but I'm not willing to blow it out.
We have too many things going on with the kids.
Yeah, man.
Adulting
sucks.
Yeah, anyway, it's weird when you need to pick them up at 9:15 from their tech practice because they both have performances coming up since they both like theater. Can't really show up to that.
Hey, where you at?
I'm here with my kid. Bring him a kid.
Hey, it's Carlos.
What do you mean? You're not tailgating those volleyball games?
Okay, that's a different matter on a weekend and not at school.
Yeah, so you gotta be careful, man. You can tell this is coming from a man don't have children.
Tony, the 2-hour breaks. We found a place over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Got 2 hours to kill, guys. What do y'all want to do?
I got an idea.
That worked out better.
It's St. Patty's Day weekend. Let's try this. No, how did everybody do? Tournament did well.
Yeah, the older girls, they won. They were playing up in the 16-year-old division. They didn't drop a set. They were really good the whole time.
And they're 13, right?
14.
14, yeah. So they're still 2 years up.
And then the younger team, they were playing. They're 2 years up. They're 10. They ended up finishing 4th overall. So good weekend. Everybody was happy. Everybody did well.
Man.
Got a 1st place and a 4th place. So
absolutely. Yeah, I didn't make it over to Florence Darlington where my son played. They played, and they're like 18 in the nation.
Was this weather related?
No, it's just exhaustion.
Exhaustion related.
Yeah, I just needed to stop. That and Friday I had car trouble. I was headed home, and I was nervous about it. No, was that Friday? It was Thursday, I guess. I was headed home and I was nervous about it. Like I had this light come on, and then my truck started like shimmy, accelerate.
Did you get a rattle?
Yes, it was just it just felt like it wasn't accelerating. It was
which would seem kind of difficult if you were ever to go on the road to drive
South
to another
Carolina.
state.
Exactly. So
my car isn't accelerating. Let's hit the road.
Yeah. What do you think? So Thursday, took it over, got it fixed, and they told me it wasn't a big deal, which is good. And they fixed the sensor. It was like a CO2 sensor or something crazy like that. But there was that little bit of me that wanted to go to South Carolina, but we're tired. And then I was like, man, with the truck acting like this, I just don't know. Let me just make sure that these repairs are done correctly. And apparently they were no problem all weekend, but it was probably good.
Did you get any of the fun on Saturday?
No,
we got
not at all.
I mean, it was like a light show.
Yeah, no, we did get some lightning.
Like it was lit up outside, and we had some
couple pops of thunder,
nasty thunder.
Yeah,
but
my wife and dog are hiding under the blankets.
We had all the lights on in the basement to head down there if we needed to. But by, I think it was right around 1 o'clock in the morning when they're like, the worst of it's coming. And we went, all right, well, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We just stayed in bed.
It was crazy. My wife was so scared. Her and the dog were scared to death. And I was like, Laura's going to be fine.
Well, the storm did kill. What was it, Fox News update? The updated total's like 32, 34 across the country?
Yes, yeah. I'm not saying it didn't happen anyway, but for
we're
us.
We're going to get the cowards, though.
Yeah, no.
We live in a suit of armor.
Well, I told my wife.
Afraid of S.
I was like, Laura, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. She was like, well, let's take the flag down. Can you help me take? She wanted to take the swing we have on the front porch. She wanted to take that down. She's afraid it's going to go flying through a window. And then she wanted she got the patio umbrella that goes with the table set. She wanted to take all that down.
I took down the umbrella at our house.
I was fine with it all. I did it all. I was like, we're doing this for no reason. This is going to be just fine. And
did you give her the talk? Did you just say, honey?
Calm down.
Okay, you started with that one. Followed up with, does this look like manufactured housing to you?
Oh, we're going to be fine. This is great. We got a basement. We're good.
Seems to be the magnet for these sorts of things.
That's right. I grew up in a place where manufactured homes are,
where just underneath the grating are tires on the bottom of the home.
Yeah, right.
Because if you've ever seen where people will put the little bit of grating underneath so that you don't notice it, if you go underneath the house, you will find tires.
Yeah, that's right. Wheels and, and you put the underpinning up so that way they don't see it.
They don't see it. The underpinning. There you go.
And so growing up in a place where mobile homes were very common, and my mama just bought one, a couple years ago as she left Dalton to move to Loganville to be closer to my sister. I was familiar. And when you're in one of those mobile homes, and there's nothing wrong with them, I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting them down. My mama lives in ones, and half my family does. But when big gust comes up,
big weather comes,
they shake.
They do move.
They shake and will scare the devil out of you. So when you feel like you're in a house that is, completely,
let's say pliable.
Yes, secure.
Oh, because I was thinking the manufactured home, it tends to be a little bit more responsive to the weather.
Yeah, it does.
Whereas yours tends to not.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Solid, secure, pliable's great. I didn't feel, I never feel frightened. Probably a bad thing. I'm overconfident. I'm like,
you're the Lieutenant Dan of the moment. Right. You can't sink this house.
No kid. We had this.
It's time for a showdown.
We have this group text of all of our friends, and there's probably 10 or 12, and everybody's talking about what they're doing to secure their homes and be safe and all this. Lowe's, this is what I sent them back. When you talk about Lieutenant Dan, this is exactly the gif I sent them back. Look at this.
It is. Okay. So that's the guy, always known as the Florida man with the giant American flag standing in the street.
That guy's my hero.
As the weather's coming in.
Yes.
That is what I sent all of our friends. I was like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to be out in the street. Bring it on.
Love that.
Dude, that was, nobody took it as funny. Nobody thought it was as funny as I did.
Well, see, your dark comedy does not work with that group. With me, I'd have been dying laughing.
I know. I knew you'd get it. Jeray'd get it. The rest of our friend group thought I was downplaying the seriousness. I guess if you weren't right where we are, and there are other places that got hit harder, then you probably wouldn't think it is as funny. But I knew we were gonna be fine. I didn't. There was no doubt.
I was concerned, but I wasn't freaked out.
Yeah. See, there we go. I think that's the smartest way to put it.
But then you wouldn't even drive to South Carolina because you were just so concerned.
Well, no, I was concerned about my truck. It had nothing to do with the
weather. So the weather and my truck is much more of a problem here.
Exactly. Weather will be fine. The truck, though, if you accelerate and it don't accelerate, there's problems. You don't need to get on Interstate 20 because they will run you over and act like you're not even there. Push you right off into the ditch. Anyway, I didn't have a problem. Democrats got a problem. Let me tell you.
Boy, do they.
Their polling is the worst it's been since, 2004, I believe, was the number that I saw.
That is the date, yes.
And, I mean, when you talk about awful.
It's the days of John Kerry when they were just listless.
27% approval rate. 27%. The exact opposite for Donald Trump. His approval numbers are rock solid. 44% of Americans believe that the United States is on the right track. Finally, 44% believe that we're headed in the right direction. So you got listless Democrats, like you were saying, and then you got Republicans and conservatives that are going, yeah, I feel pretty good about everything for us.
Considering that number, as we go through it, I believe is up by 20, I think it was 22%.
That's right.
That it's
been in like 6 months. Maybe less. Let me go. Hang on.
It's been 56 days.
Yeah.
That's all it's been of this administration for the outlook of the country to already turn around. By the way, something else they will not tell you about. Have you seen food prices? Have you asked about it at like a butcher shop or anything else? All of it's coming down right now.
We went to a butcher shop just to buy food because we were doing a little cookout last night with some friends after the weather didn't carry us away. And Laura's like, I want to try that new butcher shop. And I was just like, I don't know, man. It just seems like it would be expensive. She was like, let's just go see. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
We felt in a place where we're like, man, and we always split something anyway. So it's not like we're spending boatloads of cash, but it was much less than I thought.
You'll see it in the supermarkets first. You won't see it in the restaurants. You won't see it and even at Waffle House. You won't see it, but you will see it in the supermarkets first. Then you're going to see it all around the rest of the country. It's already started, which is shocking when you're talking about being at 50-some days for this administration.
Gosh, I love it. Yeah, and the other thing that stood out to me when we're talking about the polling on the left is that the most popular person in the Democrat Party is AOC. Dude, let that simmer around for a little bit. Yes. Bernie and AOC. And when you talk about that, what do they represent? Los, they're socialist. Outright. It's not, they don't even try to hide it. It's not like, hey, we're socialist. No, it's wave the flag. We need whatever that little thing is you put at car dealerships where you try to get somebody's attention.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
That, and that's what gets the attention.
It's a listless party, considering that the top right now is AOC, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders.
It's unreal.
Bernie's not electable. They know that. That's why they ditched him out back in 2016. And you really think either one of these women, this is how we have now gotten to the party of cat ladies. How do these people represent the top of the ticket, the top of the brand, yet are completely unelectable nationally? I mean, Kamala Harris was good enough to lose by 100 electoral votes.
Yeah, wow.
100. She lost every swing state.
That sucks.
And you think that a bartender who's playing the role of Democrat leader is going to somehow have a vision for the country that's going to inspire people? She has two things that inspire people.
Yeah, I think I know.
Yeah.
I think
Just leave that to y'all.
I think I know what it might be. Anyway, the other thing is,
welcome to Monday morning, y'all.
But we're a little off the rails. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Old St. Patty's got us all sideways.
Who else in the leprechaun say yeah?
Yeah.
No, but the thing
that is 20 years old at this point. Man, what a great news story.
Mobile, Alabama.
That's right.
That's right. The crazy thing is, Los, is the Democrats, this is what they want. The whole Bernie and AOC thing, this is intentional. They love the fact that socialists are running their party. That was a decision they made as a party, that we're leaving behind any sort of traditional American value. We don't care about that. We believe in socialism. We believe in Marxism. That's what we're trending toward. Democrats, as a party, now embrace that at like 65%.
I believe that they know they're lost. Like, they realize that they have so many issues going on right now. And this is what I mean by this. You will have the regular analytical Democrat that will say, we do not have any leadership at the top of the ticket. No one is talking about future vision or what we're going to do. And then when you do get it, it ends up being like a Josh Shapiro, and they point at him and they're like, yeah, but he's Jewish. So how exactly are you ever advancing from this mindset, from this view of racial politics and this racial gaming system, where the most prevalent and most interesting looking people that you have, you immediately tear them down because you go, well, they're not communist enough for us.
Well, but that's the thing. They genuinely want to be communist allowed. That's what they are.
But they can't get elected, and that's the problem. The power structure, the real people, the real swinging D's within that party, they're the ones that are very frustrated, knowing which way they're going, because they cannot secure power outside of, a handful of locales. Obviously, New York, California, you're going to be able to do some stuff out of Illinois. But if you want to win in large enough numbers to be able to have the House, the Senate, the presidency again, man, when are you going to win Nebraska? When can you make an inroad into Iowa?
They're not.
When can you have people in Texas outside of Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas that say, yeah, I'll vote for that?
The analytical Democrats that you're talking about, the Josh Shapiros, they're leaving this party. They have to.
They're going to have to.
The party doesn't exist. 65%, inside that polling, 65% of Democrats support Marxism and socialism. 65%. So there's no room for Josh Shapiro. There's no room for anybody that is center left.
No, even a guy like Mark Kelly, the astronaut from Arizona, distinguished career, they don't even pay attention to Mark Kelly. They just look at him as a vestige of days gone by.
That's right.
You don't understand what things are happening anymore, old man. You don't know what's going on. Whereas on our side of the aisle, Gen X is running everything. Look at this entire administration. It's Trump at the top, and it's loaded with Gen X. It's a bunch of people that are in their 40s that are calling the shots now.
That's exactly right. The Democrats, those Democrats that you're referring to, they at some point they have to. There's no way they'll survive in the current Democrat Party. They will have to create their own party. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that happens. I don't know who jumps out and
how do you
does
pull
it.
the car back onto the road?
That's how. Leaving that party. You can't be there, because if 65% of Democrat voters say we support socialism and Marxism, there's nothing left.
And the Civil War continued over the weekend. To see the anger towards Chuck Schumer, where Democrats have already decided, because, he made a deal. He's going to go along with the continuing resolution that Donald Trump wants and his administration wants. Chuck Schumer looked at it and said, as the most powerful Democrat in this country, we will give ourselves a death blow if we do not do this. And yet the Democrats then turned on him like somehow he was Donald Trump's next running mate.
Right, exactly.
How can you win with that mentality that everything that Donald Trump wants is wrong no matter what it is?
Yeah, well, they won't. That's first.
Donald Trump wants daylight. To hell with daylight.
But that's exactly... Well,
we don't need any of this.
We know that that's their strategy.
Yes.
The whole party strategy is whatever he says.
Let's do the opposite.
Including, we're going to go in front of the American people and plead a constitutional crisis on behalf of gang members that are being deported. That's how opposite of everything we're going to do. He's getting rid of gang members that are terrorizing America. That's who we're in support of.
Violent gang members. You're sending them back. And when a federal court judge goes, well, you can't do that. Like, yeah, they're already in the air and they're in international water. So, you just say, sorry, we won't do it anymore. You're going to make that argument?
Yes, all day today they're going to make
all day they're going to be talking. That is not even an 80-20 issue. That's like 95-5. Okay, you're going to have to be on the 5%. Basically saying, no. Those gang members, they have rights. Do they? Oh, you want to tell me about that one?
Yeah, but they are this week. Get ready, buckle up. The Democrat Party is going to represent violent gang members being taken out of the country, and they're going to advocate for them all week. It will happen starting today. You heard it here first. On Extra 106.3, Tug and Los until 10 when we come back. Anthony Mackie. You know him as Captain America, but do you know about his toxic masculinity as it's being described? Next on the Morning Extra. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
John also does not support banning boys from girls' teams.
The party that screams about democracy. 80% of Americans want this protection. 67% of Democrats want this protection.
Do we have two senators who said it's okay for boys to go wee-wee next to a girl?
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They're locally owned and operated, and you can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Got a to-do list a mile long? No problem. We've got the ultimate solution, our Handyman for a Day program. Here's how it works. You get a skilled handyman dedicated to knocking out your honey-do list. Paint touch-ups, drywall repairs, door adjustments, and much more, all done in one day. You want to jump into spring and not worry about your home? Call us now before the rush for your Handyman for a Day and call us at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. One call, one handyman, one day. The Trusted Toolbox.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com. Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
HGI Wealth Advisors is your financial defense partner, preparing you for the unexpected when the inevitable happens in life. Our tailored strategies empower families to build wealth, generate infinite income, and mitigate taxes, fees, and penalties. At HGI Wealth Advisors, we help you transfer wealth while creating an everlasting legacy. Our goal is to ensure you meet your financial needs today, tomorrow, and into retirement. Our experienced team is committed to ensuring your legacy endures for generations to come. Learn more at hgiwealthadvisors.com.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Xtra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 17th. Power is restored to thousands of Georgians who were left in the dark Sunday after a major storm knocked over trees Saturday night. At least one tornado touched down in Paulding County. Crews worked Sunday to clear the damage, and Georgia Power says those without power will be restored soon. The Georgia Bulldogs men's basketball team is going dancing for the first time in a decade. UGA takes on Gonzaga Thursday afternoon in the first round of the NCAA men's tournament. NASA's stuck astronauts welcomed their replacements over the weekend. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been in space for over 9 months. The pair will return as early as Wednesday, weather permitting. Today's weather, clear skies and a bit chilly with a high of 59 degrees. Some wind gusts left over from the weekend storms. Tomorrow warms back up with a high of 75. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
I want to talk about what Anthony Mackie said, and he's the guy that plays Captain America. Are y'all glad that I knew that?
Yes.
Are y'all impressed that I knew that? I only knew it because we had talked about him in that new role where he made that statement that Captain America didn't really represent exactly what America is.
He had talked about, now you've got to actually follow the programming.
And you explained it to me, so it made sense.
There's in the character evolution, there was a part where Anthony Mackie's character had an issue with what was Sam Wilson, had an issue with what had gone on in the country. He's a veteran who came home from our wars, and he's not disillusioned. He's still, a soldier and everything else, but he is not the way Captain America sees America, where it's like, America, everything, apple pie, Jesus, bomb. It's like, no, he realizes America's a little more complicated than that.
Yes, everything in life is. And when Los explained that to me, because I don't watch a lot of movies, a lot of TV, when he set that up, I was like, oh, I got it. It made sense, because I feel like that's where we are right now in America.
He got in trouble because he was trying to explain the character arc of his character.
Yeah.
And everyone took that as like, well, he's not proud of America. It's like, no, it's the character that he's playing is a different version of Captain America who sees the world differently than the original.
Guilty. I heard it and reacted to it as well. It wasn't until Los explained it that I got it. He's back, and another thing that he said is dead on, just like he was talking about with the character Captain America in the Ark. Anthony Mackie's 100% right about what's happened to men in America, and he's sick of it.
In the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities. But I raised my boys to be young men. My boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. Since they were 2 years old, every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up. Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. So for me, it's always that idea. American masculinity is very different.
Dude, when I listened to this last night...
Did it not make all the sense to you in the world now?
I was so impressed by Anthony Mackie. That's the way my house operates. When he talks about using your manners, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, please and thank you, every day in the house, it wasn't an option in my home. I raised my son. I would tell him, Jacob, as much as I love you, and I hope you know how much I love you, I will never be in the stratosphere of how much your mama loves you. Your mama, who you grew in her womb, you grew in her belly, and she gave birth to you. She is the reason you exist. There is no love that is anywhere matching a mama's love, and I love my son more than anything else on this earth. and mine is still, it doesn't match it. When he says, I had my son, know that he was taking care of his mama, and he will always take care of his mama. That's the way I raised my son. That's the way America should operate. Men are dads are so important, and you hear Jennifer Aniston, and I know you've heard this before, says like, I don't need a man. I need a man. I can raise a kid. Yeah, you can. That don't make it a good idea.
I understand where he's coming from. Every night before I go to bed, it's always the same thing. Basement door, back door, front door.
Same here.
Because I live in a house with a wife and 2 daughters. So this is important to me.
You're the protector.
This is how this stuff goes.
And you should be.
And so now that you hear Anthony Mackie talk about how he's raising his sons, you now understand how much BS you were fed when he did that tour and he's in Europe and he brought up the complications of his character. That is much more along the lines of what he thinks.
Is.
And remember, the other side does consider what he just said to be toxic.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm like, good, by all means. And you know what? He might have liberal views and all sorts, but
I have no idea
how he's raising his sons in his home.
It's the way it should be done.
Straight masculinity
should be done that way,
which should never have been removed from any part of their tent, their lexicon, their language. Part of the reason why they are losing in the way they are, and James Carville does have this correct. You've become the party of ladies and ladymen.
That's right.
Of liberal white women. Where is the place in your party where you will talk about strong men who are providing for their community and providing for their family? They don't have a place in your party.
They despise what Anthony Mackie said. Even if he's on their side on every other thing, they despise him, and they will distance themselves from that.
Stepped out of the mentality.
Absolutely right. And I think every father in America should listen to that message. Every father in America should raise their kids that way. Their sons specifically. You take care of your mother. You protect your mother. You take care of your sisters. You take care of even your grandmothers and your aunts. You always look out for ladies. You always, and in that cut that we didn't get to because he went on for a while, he talked about opening doors for ladies. And not recently, it's probably been in the last several years, so not in the relatively recently is what I'm trying to say. I remember holding a door for a lady, and she was like, I don't need you to hold the door. And I was like, I didn't assume you weren't able to open the door.
I see that you have arms and legs.
I know you can do it for you. I know you can do it. It's nothing to do with that. But isn't it nice when somebody holds the door for you? It's just a common courtesy. That's all it is. He said, my kids will hold the door for their mother. They'll hold the door for their sisters. And you know what's so important that I think gets left out of this conversation? If he does it for his mama, and he does it for his sisters, and he does it for his aunts, and he does it for ladies that he don't even know, guess what he's going to do for his wife? That's why it's important. That's why what Anthony Mackie has said is so important, and I do the same thing in my house. Bravo, Zulu, Anthony Mackie. I love what he said, and I don't care if they distance themselves from it. They're fools.
So I'm just looking at some of the responses from that video.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Well, he's Captain Un-America.
Is that what it says?
That's one of them. You know, there's a handful that you just say.
What does that even mean?
He's toxic masculinity.
Because he issued some masculinity, and that is not part. I'm telling you,
they're not allowed.
You're speaking out against
everything that they stand for and believe.
If you were to have a liberal Bible, a communist Bible, and one of the areas you're going to find is masculinity never should be talked about, never should be exalted, never should be celebrated, in part because strong men do not allow for communism to come into play. So when you are pushing this sort of message, you can't allow for room for masculine men to be available.
And
it's not part of the culture.
I don't know his politics. I have no idea.
No idea. But whatever he is at home, I know what that is.
I'll take more of that. And when he says they've killed masculinity in our communities, who do you think the they is? It certainly isn't conservatives. It certainly isn't traditional values. It certainly isn't people that celebrate and participate in traditional values. Who do you think he's talking about? He's talking about the Democrats. He's talking about the left. He's talking about communists and socialists. That's what he's talking about. Now, whether he's in their party or not, I don't know. He's either A, talking about them from afar, or B, he's inside the bubble and still is not afraid to say it.
You want to know what the bubble is? I'll give you a response. I won't even point out who actually responded to this, but it talked about how Anthony Mackie is raising his children. It says, raising young men like this, unfortunately, is preparing them for a world that doesn't exist anymore. To be honest, it probably does them more harm than good.
See, I disagree with that wholly.
Because I know that if you come south, I tell you what, try this in SEC, ACC country and see what the response is that this world doesn't exist anymore.
It completely exists.
May not exist in your area of the world. Sure does mine. I'm going to be hanging out here.
Maybe in New York, maybe in California.
Having respect and trying to protect what's mine when it comes to the girls, the women that I have in my life, while also providing.
What more should you do? There's not a better responsibility. I mean, that's what. Let's say you believe in evolution, which I don't. But let's say that that's what the evolution of man has been, right? From the hunter-gatherer, the protector. I mean, back to cavemen. That's what they did. And that's what we continue to do to this day if you have any sense in your head. And if you're not teaching your kids to use manners, then you're making a grave mistake in their future. I love the quote, and I used to write it down. I shared it with my son, and if I were to call him on the phone right now and ask him, where do you get, or how do you get in places that your education can't get you? He would say, you use your manners. That'll get you in places that your education can't. And that is a quote from Clarence Thomas.
Here is another post that you'll find on X. It said, wow, I thought he was a lefty. That was nice to hear. He can still be left and have
totally.
That's the whole point. It said, yes, he might vote for every single liberal person out there, might vote for every single communist. This is how he's choosing to raise his children. That should not be a left or right issue.
No, it should be a common sense issue.
The fact that the left has pushed it this way and what he's pointing it out, he's like, I don't have to buy into everything to be as I put it, I'm a pretty aggressive nationalist.
Mm-hmm.
But I can sit back and say, you know what, on this particular issue, I'm pretty I'm going to stand down a little bit, pretty open. Anthony Mackie, when it comes to raising his children and raising his boys, looks at things and says, I'm going to raise them in a very respectful manner when it comes to their mother. Whatever he does beyond that is what he does outside his house.
In regard to that tweet, though, I understand why they say it.
I get it. It falls into those tropes of like, this is the only way they think.
Marty's on the line at 404-741-1230. We want to talk about Anthony Mackie as well. What's on your mind, Marty?
Hey, good morning, guys. I give Anthony Mackie props for saying what he said, and it's important to point that out, that masculinity is being attacked every day. Men are the protectors, providers, and procreators. And one of the plays in their playbook, communism, socialism, is to go after men, go after the masculinity. You see that in history where they separate them and kill them, and try to destroy the family. Basically, they're the foothold in society and the family. So it's just, again, give him props. He may have shot his career down, but who knows?
Thank you for the call, Marty.
Marty, thank you.
If there was ever a moment where you're trying, if your plan is to play Captain America for about the next 6 or 7 years, Chris Evans did it for about 10 years. So if that's your goal, talking about these things in public does not hurt.
I don't think so either.
Not with that audience.
And what Marty said, I think, is so true that's what men are, and that's why communists hate masculine men, because they stand in the way of the takeover.
Yeah, when you are able to dissolve the family, and that was the genius of what the Democrats were up to in the 1960s with their welfare programs. When you can dissolve the family, it makes it so much easier for totalitarianism to come into play.
Because you have nobody to stand up to it. Nobody brave enough, nobody bold enough, nobody that will say, no, that's not right. And that's not the way we're going to operate. Anthony Mackie laid down the law. His sons know what's expected of them. And when he laid down the law, they're going to carry that for the rest of their lives. There will be nothing that dissuades them from doing what he's taught them to do. Nothing the government says, nothing that media says, nothing that fools on social media say. They're not going to be pushed around by that. They're going to be like, no, I know what right from wrong is. And I know defending women is so imperative for a man to do. I know it. And they'll never question it. They'll always go back. Even when kids take a little, a dirt road, they get themselves in the ditch when they're in their teenage years. Usually, they come back to their whatever they were taught when they were kids. They come back to their foundations And I've seen it over and over and over again in the friends of my son.
I'm going to give you a number, and this is going back to the 1950s because it's often portrayed in the news media like this was never how it was. What are you talking about? The importance of the family. In the 1950s, here's the numbers. Roughly 67% of white women were married. Black women, it was 64%.
Right there together.
These communities mirrored each other
That's
with
right.
the importance of family. They did. During the 1960s, when you saw some of these social programs come into play, they were largely going after and touching black families in this country. So by the time we get to 1998, married women, white women represented 58%. So there had been a drop.
Yeah, sure.
Black women fell to 36%.
Goodness.
You
got to correct that.
From 64% to cut basically almost in half to 36%. And the numbers have basically held right around there.
I guarantee Anthony Mackie knows those numbers.
Sure.
I guarantee you he realizes and recognizes and is bold enough to say it. And he just said our community. I don't know if he's talking about the black community or he's talking about our community as Americans. But either way, it applies. It's applicable to both. We need marriages. We need strong marriages. That's the foundation of America. Strong marriage. I mean, if you look at the data, and Los, I know you're the data guy, so I never try to challenge that. But I guarantee you, if I say this, you'll back it up. The data shows that if you graduate high school, you get married, you start a family, that your odds of being successful are skyrocketed compared to what it is if you don't.
They typically are. If you're able to avoid pregnancy, if you're able to, and in fact, if you look at being comfortable in this country, you don't have to be rich, but if you just want to hit like the middle class, finish high school, get married. You don't even need college to automatically jump into those numbers. And by the way, when I gave you those numbers on white women, black women, you notice I didn't say married other black men, married other white men.
No.
Because it's not a factor.
No.
The numbers are still just down. It's how did you create families?
That's
families
exactly
within
right.
these communities.
Yeah. It's so important. And it gets downplayed. You have idiots like, and I probably shouldn't call her an idiot, but it's the truth. Jennifer Aniston. I always go back to that one because that's the one that stuck in my craw for so long.
I think her and I would be best friends. We'd go to Waffle House.
Yeah, well, look, I understand that part of it.
It might not last very long.
Yeah, no, because she would start talking to be like, you're an idiot.
She's known as being very funny.
Yes, and she is.
Very funny comedian lady.
And she is.
She was known around that entire circuit around Chicago and everywhere else. That chick is hilarious.
And I love that about her. Don't get me wrong, but at the very same time, when you say, I don't need a father of my kid's life, I don't need a man. Yes, you do. It doesn't make it a good idea just because it can be done. You can play in I-75 in rush hour traffic. I don't make it a good idea.
According to your 2021 census, you have 49.9% of the U.S. population over the age of 15 that are married. Got to pump that number up a little bit. Let's get a little older than that.
Yeah.
But it does note that nearly 54% of the white population was married compared to 31.2% of the black population.
What was that? Say it again. I'm sorry.
You had 54% of the white population that was involved in a marriage, whereas it's only 31.2% of the black population in the country. That as of the Census Bureau 2021. Remember, just going back to late 1950s into early 60s, that number was double.
How do we get it back? I think it is through good, genuine conversation, and it has to start with people like Anthony Mackie. It has to. It has to start there.
Well, it also has to start with you're trying to create communities where there are opportunities for growth. I talk about this all the time. I think the quickest way to do this isn't coming down to let's hand this community $1 million, see what they do with it.
Yeah, that's silly.
No, silly. What it is the idea that failing schools create failing communities. Not failing communities creating failing schools.
That's right.
If you can allow people to escape from a failing school, watch how they grow.
And why wouldn't you? Goodness gracious. More school choice for every child in America. Every child in America. It should be so simple. I don't know why. Actually, I know completely. I know exactly why. These school systems and teachers unions fight it. The folks that CNN should be talking to about Donald Trump. Next on the Morning Extra.
The
latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
These are your sports headlines for Monday, March 17th. From college basketball, the field of 68 is now set for the men's tourney that will begin this week. Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida are the 1 seeds in each region. As for the University of Georgia, they're in as the 9th seed in the Midwest. They will open up the tournament by playing Gonzaga on Thursday. The Hawks, they're off tonight. The team is back in action tomorrow night. They'll be in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. Spring training continues this afternoon. The Braves, they'll open up the season next week, but today they host the Boston Red Sox from Northport. First pitch is set for 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan.
Walked out this morning and started sneezing immediately. Been struggling with it all weekend. It's because the cherry trees in our yard right in front of the house are blooming, and they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. They're absolutely stunning, but they make me sneeze. So Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they want you to know that they can help you with that, especially if you struggle with that or somebody in your family struggles with that. Call them at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com, because at Central you get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, Carrier peace of mind, plus with it being allergy season, they can fix what ails your house and possibly your family's health. With home ventilation and air quality products, Central has packages designed around variable speeds, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, air cleaners, and dehumidifiers. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. You are not just a number. You're a member of the family. That's the way Chuck and his team and his family have operated that business since 1947, serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
It's here. The factory-authorized Liberty Safe truckload clearance event. For 3 days only, the Safe Market and Liberty Safes of Atlanta is slashing prices by up to 40% on top-quality American-made safes. Gun safes, home security safes, all must be sold. With 3 convenient locations, there's never been a better time to buy. Thursday, March 20th through Saturday, March 22nd only. Shop online or come into any of our 3 stores for more savings. Call 770-242-0055 or visit thesafemarket.com. 770-242-0055.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
We all know that life can be unpredictable. The moment you're planning that family trip and then the next somebody is sick. And that's why I want to talk to you about the Jace case, your ultimate safety net when emergencies strike. The Jace case isn't just that mess of medications behind the mirror up in the cabinet. It's an organized doctor-prescribed case of life-saving tools paired with a set of cards explaining exactly how and when to use these medications. The case is peace of mind in a time of uncertainty. Imagine having your essential prescriptions right at your fingertips, ready to go when you need them most. Whether it's a sudden allergy flare-up or a common cold, you won't have to scramble to find the help you need. It's about taking charge of your health and being prepared no matter what life throws at you. When you order your Jace case today, use the promo code BECK at jace.com for a discount. Don't wait for the unexpected to catch you off guard. Be ready with the right medications on hand the moment you need them at jase.com, jace.com, promo code BECK.
Keep up with all of our shows and the latest headlines by following Extra 1063 on Instagram, X, Facebook, Truth Social, and all your social media platforms. Plus exclusive giveaways and more. So follow now at XTRA 1063.
Tug and Los until 10, 404-741-1230 is the number, at Extra 1063 across the social media platforms, at Tug Howard, at Front Office Los. CNN, they really, Los, should probably just talk to some, I don't know, everyday Americans.
I don't know how when they do these panel discussions, they're getting things so wrong. Now, if you were to tell me that you're doing it because your audience wants to be misled, okay. But again, we're talking about more Democrats now. People that view themselves as Democrats are watching Fox News than any other network. You have an opportunity here. The opportunity is to analyze what is going on in the country. I will give credit to a guy like Sean Hannity. And I'm not like a big Sean Hannity. I don't watch his show. I don't listen to his radio show. But I thought that was pretty interesting. During the Obama years, he talked about being a conservative in exile.
Yeah.
And conservative thoughts being in exile. That's how he took those 8 years and said, all right, we will talk about what we're interested in. We're going to acknowledge what they're doing. And now we're going to build a show around it. CNN won't even acknowledge what's being on our side. I want you to take a listen. It's a panel discussion. And they're trying to figure out why Donald Trump is so popular. All I'm saying is for all of them, why don't you go speak to regular people? Take a listen.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of his voters. They don't care about impeachments and insurrections. They care about their bottom line. They care about their bank accounts. They care about their retirement accounts, their home prices, the cost of goods. I think it was never, could he shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose voters? I think it's always been, can he shoot America, the political equivalent? Can he blow up the American economy and not lose voters? That's the test of that theory right now.
I don't think that this is a conversation about Trump's voters. I think it's a conversation about swing voters, about the independents. The Trump people, actually, there might not be anything he could do that they would leave him for. But the people in the middle, they don't like their money being messed with.
Yeah.
They're so wrong because it is regular America that is sitting back saying, yes, let's get this economy back in order in this way. That panel is part of the people that led it in this way. And one of the smartest things I heard, and we'll get into it as we get a chance to play some more audio, what is happening is we are weaning off our economy off government spending.
Yeah, that's been the plan from the get-go. How do we take what America has been and get it back to that point? That's what, when you see all of these, the tariffs on like aluminum and steel, and then all of a sudden you see aluminum and steel companies that had been shuttered since COVID all of a sudden starting to ramp up, that's all because they can make it cheaper here.
Because we've made a marketplace. You've created a marketplace where you are actually going to be able to compete. Free markets. It is such a misnomer because you have such protectionism that goes on around the world for their own products. If I was to create, let's say, I've got a really nice vehicle that I've created, and I would like to be able to sell it outside the United States market. The problem is going to be is that when I try to get into markets like, let's say, South Korea, into Japan, into Germany,
Europe,
I'm going to be hammered by tariffs. It's going to keep me out of there.
At like 300%.
Right. If I want to go to Canada, they're going to protect their own. We are now just doing it on our end. And
all we're doing is what everybody else does.
And we're seeing what's happening within our own companies. As you said, aluminum is sitting back saying, finally, we can compete now.
We can. That's all we're doing is taking care of American workers. And you have Democrats going, nope, we shouldn't be doing this. Nope.
We're looking to blow up the American economy.
Right. Yeah. There are some Democrats, though, that are coming around, and they'll be shouted down. They won't be listened to because that party is more interested in socialism and Marxism than they are the free market. They despise the free market, and that's the reason they're doing all the things they do, including talking about impeaching Donald Trump because of some of the tariffs and because of the deporting of illegal gang members to Venezuela, as we talked about in that last segment. The fact that that's what Democrats are going to be defending all week, they have no idea which way is up. But the other thing that's interesting is that you're hearing those impeachment words. Nobody really takes it serious, but that would be, I believe, the death nail. Like, I mean, the Democrats are barely hanging on. Look at what the mugshot did. Can you imagine if they tried to impeach him?
Here, go for it again.
Dude, his numbers would skyrocket. He would be at 100%.
Well, it plays into the narrative. that these people are out to get him because he's looking to protect you.
That's right.
It really does work. Imagine if you were to have a vehicle. Let's say your truck did not have an O2 sensor issue.
Oh, my, yeah.
But for the time being, gas was like, let's say $1.50, but it had like 10% sugar mixed in.
Oh, my. That would not be good.
Well, it's going to run for a while.
Yeah, but then it's going to lock down.
And then suddenly the mechanics of it all, it's not going to work correctly. All right, that is what the American economy has had going on for the better part of the last 4 years. The exorbitant spending was a sugar high within our markets, within our economy. Eventually, it's not going to work. It will shut down because of the amount of printing and spending. What this administration is doing is trying to give you actual real full gasoline so that you know these things can run without eventually shutting down and having a problem.
Even ethanol, getting rid of that too in there. Right? It's going to be 100% pure gasoline. It's going to burn hotter.
Got to get rid of that sugar high,
That's
man.
right.
Get rid of that government spending in our markets because that's
exactly right.
It'll change the marketplace, but it'll be much stronger because of it.
And the inferno that it will create. When you unleash the American economy, when you get out of its way and let the free markets work, it is unstoppable.
Which is not actually hard to do, which will always beg the question, then why doesn't the other side do it? Because it creates government dependency. Yes.
It's a choice.
It's always the same. It's a choice.
They know what they want, and that is government dependency. They want that to be your religion because it's theirs. Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3 when we continue. I don't think we're as smart as, like, the Treasury Secretary, but he is echoing what we said last week. So maybe next on the Morning Xtra.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
All right, hold on. Repeat about it. Phone calls take priority to the phones. It's Betsy. Hello, Betsy. How's it going? Welcome aboard.
Hi, Kimmer. It's wonderful to talk to you. I've been wanting to call for a couple of weeks because I thought you were dead.
I thought I was dead, but I was only in Alpharetta.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Ready to go electric in a big way? Jim Ellis Buick GMC has the revolutionary 2025 GMC Hummer EV SUV in stock and ready to drive home today with an incredible $11,000 off MSRP.
This all-electric powerhouse combines the capability of the Hummer EV pickup with SUV versatility, delivering cutting-edge technology and legendary off-road performance, all without a drop of gas. With up to 830 horsepower, available crab walk mode, and an ultra-fast charging system, the Hummer EV SUV redefines what's possible in an electric vehicle.
Drive electric, drive bold, drive the Hummer EV by visiting JimEllisBuickGMC.com or shop in Chamblee off Peachtree Boulevard just inside the perimeter or in Beaufort off Highway 20 near 985. Jim Ellis Buick GMC, we are professional grade. 2025 GMC Hummer EV SUV, example stock number GH028. MSRP is $99,690. After Jim Ellis discounts, final sale price is only $88,690. Just add TABT and state fees. Offer expires March 31st, 2025.
Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. Now that President Trump has unburdened us from what could have been, our country's finally headed in the right directions. But the Democrats are screaming and yelling and losing their minds. And unfortunately, the bad guys are still here and they want your stuff. Thank you, Joe Biden. And customers are still reporting break-ins and thefts of their hard-earned valuables. Don't wait till it's too late. Get a quality safe from the Safe House. We carry the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And remember, gun safes are sales tax-free at Atlanta Safe House. So give us a call or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Have you considered securing your family's future? Protecting your hard-earned assets, navigating complex legal matters with ease. Nelson Elder Care Law is here to guide and empower you and your loved ones. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our trademark Absolute Protection Trust and expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid crisis solutions, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, Nelson Elder Care Law protects what matters most to you. Imagine a team dedicated to safeguarding your legacy every step of the way. Our flat fees ensure transparency, and our customized plans prioritize your family's specific needs. Are you worried about protecting your family and your legacy after you're gone? Let us help you ensure you're absolutely protected from whatever curveballs life may throw your way. Schedule a complimentary legacy planning meeting with our legal team in Marietta or Woodstock today. Contact us at 678-250-9355 or visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sale Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
And Trump is planning to talk to Russia's leader. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, trying to work out how and what terms they can have to end the war in Ukraine.
We'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. That's a big question.
President Trump also says his teams have been busy over the weekend trying to narrow the gaps between Ukraine and Russia. And he says a lot of progress has been made, leading to a potential conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin as soon as tomorrow.
Well, that's Fox's Madeline Rivera. So far, Putin's rejected the terms of a ceasefire plan that Ukraine agreed to. President Trump's thanked El Salvador for accepting 2 plane loads of deported illegal immigrants Saturday. But there is controversy. A federal judge tried to block that.
The Trump administration did not refuse to comply with a court order, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says, after the administration flew hundreds of suspected migrant gang members to El Salvador and Honduras. Leavitt says while the order from a federal district court judge had no lawful basis, it was issued after the migrants were already out of U.S. territory and airspace.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Houthi militants have fired missiles and drones at U.S. targets, but they've been shot down. The Iran-backed rebels trying to retaliate for weekend U.S. airstrikes that hit the terror group in Yemen, killing at least 53 people to stop the Houthis from attacking ships in and around the Red Sea. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz tells Fox News Sunday,
"We just hit them with overwhelming force and put Iran on notice that enough is enough."
There's a lot of damage in the South and Midwest after storms full of tornadoes. At least 40 people dead in 7 states. Fox Weather's Katie Burns in an Alabama town with a lot of tornado wreckage.
The damage here in Gordo is mainly to homes and farms in town, but the Red Cross is on the ground here in Gordo helping people impacted by the storm. And as some roads remain impassable because of downed trees and power lines, schools are closed here today too. On the list of things people need in this town right now, hammers and garbage bags.
America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
No need for traffic updates. We always steer you right. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Top of the morning, y'all. Tug and Los, St. Patty's Day in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm sure there's all kinds of like St. Patty stuff going on tonight. Bars and, bar crawls. And
sure.
All the fun stuff. But
well, everybody has something. Like, think about it. You think Good Old Days is going to have something going on?
I would imagine, right? They would have to. I mean, it's obvious. It's laying there.
Any place that has like a little bit of a, little Irish lean.
But even if you don't,
I know.
Even if you don't, man, there's
like, it's like we're asking to go like Fido.
You don't have to go there.
Yeah, here's all your Irish stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly right. But Yeah, any bar and grill, got to do something just because it's there. It's waiting on you. Pop it up on a tee, make a couple extra bucks, and there you go. And you're walking out of there puking all over your shoes.
My father-in-law, for years, has been that guy that if they don't serve green beer, then he brings his own green dye. And he puts it in his beer, so he has a green beer.
That's right. I love it. Good.
That's
cool. Dedication. Absolutely. That is dedication that I don't have. I admire people that do. I don't have that dedication, but I need to do better. It's clear.
I'm going to run home and go get the coloring dye.
That's right.
Go get a beer and just sit on a patio and just be like, look, it's green.
Yeah. I saw them, they did up in Chicago this weekend. They put all the dye in the river. Yeah, which looks super cool. I'm not sure how healthy it is. I don't know if it kills the fish. I don't know what it does.
Sure it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have figured that out by now. But it is cool. I guess Boston is the best city in the country to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, what is it? Boston, Chicago,
Savannah
also has another big.
Savannah is they say Savannah's the third best city in America to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So I mean,
is it a heritage thing? Like why?
I don't know.
Because it's different. Like one of the cool aspects of when you live in Texas. I'm going to toot Texas's horn. So you know why it's Six Flags? Because it was Six Flags over Texas.
Yeah.
There were basically six different countries that at one point flew their flag over Texas. And so you have these different areas that are completely different in terms of settlers. So as soon as you get outside of the city of San Antonio, most of the communities are settled by Germans. So if like you're in Green, Texas, by the way, they spell it like, not like G-R-E-E-N. It's like G-R-U-E-H-N. It's like green.
All German.
New Braunfels, Texas, where Schlitterbahn is. So when you have any of like the beer halls you want to go to, you go to those. You do those for like any of those like German holidays, or European holidays.
I would have never known. I did know a little bit about the Six Flags. I knew it.
But that's why I'm curious about Savannah.
Yeah,
like, why would that? Is it just because it's fun? Does it have like a large Irish settlement?
Just as a quick search on Google, why is St. Patrick's Day celebrated so big in Savannah? St. Patrick's Day, due to the rich Irish heritage and the city's long-standing hosting of a large, vibrant St. Patrick's Day parade, which began in 1824. And then it goes into the Irish immigrants that moved to Savannah, and then Bishop John England, the founder of the Archdiocese of Charleston. I guess there's, because there's like sister cities, so there's something there.
Like, the song about Luckenbach, Texas.
Yes, back to the basics of love.
That's German settled.
Oh, really?
That's all that area of Texas. It's all these German communities.
I bet Waylon didn't know that.
Oh, I'm sure. You go to have some beer around that area, you find out. It is some darker German beer.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've not spent a lot of time in Texas, and I feel like I've let myself down because of it. I've only been to Houston one time, and it was to see Duran Duran. So, I mean,
it's still worth it.
No, it was great. But, I mean, I feel like there's better things to do in Texas than see Duran Duran.
I don't know when we're going to do it because I don't know when we're ever going to get time again. That's how I feel right now during volleyball season.
No, I know.
I don't know when.
Anytime kids' sports are involved.
But I'm going to look forward to, like, our next trip to Texas. I'll be like, cowards, why don't y'all tag along? Now, I don't know what we're going to do.
Doesn't matter.
We'll figure something out.
Let's do Texas stuff. Like, I'm sure there's Texas things, that is just so obvious, especially San Antonio, right?
I'm telling you, Texas.
With the river walk?
Yeah, but that's a tourist trap.
Okay.
And
Go
it's
to
fine.
the Alamo.
That's a tourist trap. It's fine to be able to say that you've done it. To be like, that's the Alamo. Yeah. I've now been here because it's an awesome story in American history. To think that these guys got behind these walls, knew they were going to die, and for 13 days, all they did was we have to hold out as long as possible so that you could have General Sam Houston raise a large enough army to beat this group. That's cool.
Gosh,
that's
so
a pretty interesting story. But then if you go to like the Texas Hill Country, that's where you'll see, I mean, there's so many like Spanish missions that go back
so
hundreds of years. And then obviously the German communities and the Spanish communities and everything. So yeah,
what a melting pot.
Stuff like that. It's a cool spot.
Yeah, man. I would love to do it. So if you got things that we need to do while in Texas or that I should do because I've never spent a lot of time there, then 404-741-1230. Add to what Los has just said. The folks that run the economy, like Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, he said some things over the weekend that got my attention, and I think a lot of Scott Bessent. I think he's a really, really smart guy, and he came out and he was like, basically, when they were melting down over the the market drop. He was like, 1 week does not the market make.
1 week does not the market make. As Warren Buffett says, over the short term, the market is a voting machine. Over the long term, it's a weighing machine. We've got these large government deficits, 6.7% of GDP. We've never seen this when we're not in wartime, not in recession. We are bringing those down in a responsible way. We are going to have a transition, and we are not going to have a crisis.
God, I love it. He's talking about transitioning out of that government-funded, that sugar high that we talked about in the last segment, into an actual free market economy. And we have to do it smart. We have to do it slow. And I feel like they are.
Well, and what he's pointing out, and this is, we had talked about it as a sugar high, but let's get into the mechanics of it. What has gone on are the markets have now been looking at Washington and said, how much do you plan on printing and how much do you plan on spending? How much do you plan on reinforcing these corporations? That's who we're betting on. And so, as I said, it's artificial because it's not real money. It's not backed by anything. That's why when he talks about these fluctuations that are going to happen, yes, in order to return to what should be the normal marketplace, yeah, you're going to lose some stuff. But overall, you're going to be stronger because you're based in actual market reality.
And I love the fact you said, who are we betting on? Because I'm never betting on the government, ever. I feel like that's a failing bet. It might work in the short term, but at some point it falls apart. I bet on the intelligence of private industry and people that are there to make themselves a living and make a living for the people around them.
But what happens? You have these investment houses. You know, let's just say, for instance, you have. I'll just say I don't want to name an individual one because it's not, my wife might work for some of them. So it's like I'm going to leave some of this stuff out of here.
Probably shouldn't try to sink our own ship.
There's a part of it that she might be involved in. But what happens is what they're doing professionally is they're looking. So when you say a government contract went out to this particular company. And whether it's to manufacture some sort of good, maybe it's the old one that we all make fun of is Cylinder because that thing fell apart. But
that was the solar panel company.
There are constantly government contracts that are given to private corporations in order to manufacture some sort of good. When those go out, these companies jump on to basically get their people to buy stock. So they go, listen, the money's coming in from the government. This is going to grow.
Limitless.
And that's the way they push it. Well, if you're just printing that money to spend it, it's a sugar high.
Yes,
but you now have had basically Wall Street being attached to whatever amount of government spending is out there. That's what you're trying to basically break yourself and divulge yourself of.
You have to. He went on to say, that the second day of April is going to be a big day because that's when the U.S. rolls out the reciprocal tariffs. And I know we talked about that in the last segment, too. Like, if you go to Europe, you don't see any GMCs. You don't see any Fords because the tariffs are so high. We're not able to operate in there. So the reciprocal tariffs are doing nothing but it's mirroring what is being done to us. I think it's really smart. And this is a great point because he talks about the other nations that are already going, hey, we got to figure this out. This is coming.
April 2nd is going to be a big day. We're going to roll out the reciprocal tariffs. We've seen some of our most imbalanced trading partners come forward and want to drop their tariffs. April 2nd is an important day, but I would also tell everyone to look what happens from April 2nd to, say, June 30th as the other countries come down too. President Trump's created a win-win situation here. Either the tariff barriers come down, the U.S. can export more, trade is fairer. It's always been free, but not fair. Or if they don't do it, we'll take in substantial revenues.
Either way, we're winning.
I like how he said it. Fairer. It's not free, but it's fair. That's all you're trying to create. You're trying to create a marketplace in which if you're going to hit me with these sort of tariffs, I'm going to do the same to you. So we have to make a decision. Do we want... It's not mutually assured destruction. It's not like you were looking at the Canadians saying, man, if you sink our economy, we're going to sink your economy.
Well, they don't have the ability to do that.
Exactly. We don't import enough from Canada to be worried about what they're going to do, but they sure as hell have to be worried about us. Yes. That's why this is working this way.
And I love it. I can't. This is this kind of stuff that makes me proud to be an American.
You call them by their new nickname?
What's that?
You remember their new nickname?
What is their new nickname?
The Snow Mexicans.
Oh, yeah.
They're worried about us.
I'm not calling them that.
The actual Mexicans are like, no, we got it.
No, you're right.
We're going to work with you.
You're so right.
The snow Mexicans are like, we're not really sure yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll come around there, Poncho.
You'll be
You're
soon.
going to find out.
You'll be sure very soon. But I love the fact that Mexico and Claudia Sheinbaum, who's a socialist, is like, this free market thing is actually pretty good for us. Maybe we'll go ahead and cooperate. We're not even going to put up the front that we're fighting.
We'll work with you. We don't even have to go near an April deadline.
That's right. But not only them. It's not just them. It's all of Latin America.
Yes.
All of those countries are doing the exact same thing. Yeah, the Canadians, they're putting up the big front. But I don't expect that they will do that for very long. And, we'll see. We'll let them. Because if you recall, remember when it was the one premier that was banging his chest on how we were going to stand up, and then Trump makes one post on Truth Social, and he's like, you know what?
Yeah, the premier out of Ontario. It's like, we're going to stop sending them electricity 4 hours later.
That's right.
Just kidding. Everything I said, just ignore it. Never happened.
Do you think he'll be taking a vacation to recuperate from that beating?
I know that there's somebody else out there who needs one. This was so surprising.
This is hysterical.
Friday, we got this piece of audios after our show, and this is Lawrence O'Donnell from MSNBC. Now, keep in mind, Lawrence O'Donnell has been one of the leading advocates for everything MSNBC. Like, he has worn the helmet, man. He has been all about, this is our administration, Joe Biden's great, everything's great that we're doing. And so the Trump administration, Donald Trump, represents a very difficult time for him because everything he's been asked to believe in, it's been shown to be a lie. Joe Biden's healthy. Our elections are free. Kamala Harris is amazing. She lost by 100 electoral votes. She lost the popular vote. She lost everything.
Amazing.
All right, so take a listen. This is Lawrence O'Donnell. He's with Rachel Maddow, and he has to let Rachel know what he needs moving forward.
Well, here's the thing. This is day 52. I thought it was day 92. It turns out it's day 52, Rachel, and I'm exhausted at day 52. And so I'm going to take next week off. And I'm telling you that now because I know you don't like it when I just drift away, and just taking next week off.
Dude,
we haven't even hit 2 months, man. What do you mean you need a break?
Can you imagine being so deranged? You have TDS so badly that it affects you physically that you said, I can't do this anymore. I can't talk about all the winning on the other side because I was told that it didn't matter that he got elected because we're going to impeach him. We're going to make sure that he's not able to do. We're going to handcuff him. We're doing whatever. We're the resistance.
Maybe it was the Obama years. Like, I learned how to check out, to just say, I don't agree with what's going on. And I checked back in 2010 to make sure, hey, as the Tea Party's rising, here's where the support is, and make sure you shut down any of the major legislation that he wants to do moving forward. That's when I came back. And from 2012 moving forward, hey, let's make sure that this dude can't do anything. Now let's fast forward. I went through 2021 into 2025 going, y'all are some just silly people. Look what you're doing to this country, and you're doing it intentionally. But I learned how to divest myself emotionally from it.
Because you had no choice. I mean, they had control.
Are you going to be frustrated, angry all the time? Or are you just
yes. Yes, for them, yes.
Let me tell you what I did. And it worked for a couple of years. Didn't work for as long as I wanted it to. I basically just said, I'm going to take my money and my ball, and I'm going to go hide over here. And y'all mess up everything on your own and just stay out of me. But as the prices of everything continue to rise and you got into my pocket harder with inflation,
you brought me back out.
You brought me back. Okay? I was gone. You brought me back. Now I'm here. Now this is what we're doing. And that's why you got your butts kicked in the last election.
I was going to say, you know what that sounds like? Kind of like Donald Trump a little bit. Just the fact that
I was out.
He was there,
me back in.
And Trump was too, right? He was out.
Trump was talking about politics in the early 2000s. It took him until 2015, 2016 to finally say, it's bad enough, I will get involved.
That's what I'm saying. They brought him back. They brought him in. And now he's the great Satan. He's the dictator. He's the worst of the worst, though his polling numbers would reflect exact opposite.
And now 50-some days in, Lawrence O'Donnell, who now actually has to cover an American president that is available after 4 o'clock and on weekends.
Yes.
He's like, I need a break.
That's right. He got used to nap times. He didn't have to worry.
This is not me. This is Caitlin Collins from CNN, one of their lead anchors who's now obviously working over at the White House, who's part of their press corps there. Caitlin Collins brought up early on in this administration, you have to pay attention into the evenings and overnight and on weekends.
It's moving
because
fast.
In the previous administration, you didn't have to. Joe would take off to Delaware. He wasn't in charge. The auto pen was.
Right.
You didn't worry about it.
And they didn't want you to know what the auto pen was doing anyway, so they weren't making big announcements and sending out press releases. Look, I'm telling you, I could go to my email right now, and I bet this morning we've already got 3 or 4 just from the office of the president, just as they just send out media blasts.
Yes.
All the time. To Caitlin Collins' point, I mean, it'll be from here's when the press is meeting and where, to new executive orders, to new successes, to the successes of the week or the lies that have been told us about. I mean, the emails are nonstop.
And imagine the challenge for a guy like Lawrence O'Donnell, where Donald Trump might be signing an executive order, might be signing, whatever it's going to come down over on his desk. Lake and Riley Act was the very first one. And he's having to cover this stuff afternoon, evening, overnight, weekends. Yeah, no wonder he feels like everything is moving way too fast.
Like I'm running a marathon.
I mean, Joe Biden was done by 4 o'clock, and any executive order or any legislation, by the time it was 4 o'clock, he was no longer speaking about it because he could no longer speak.
That's why you never saw him. Do you see Donald Trump all the time? I mean, we see him every day, multiple times during the day.
I'm going to go look up his schedule. Because remember, we looked at it, everything that we were taking a look at when it came to Joe Biden and his administration, how we noted with about a year and a half to go, they're like, why is he only functioning from 10 to 4? And then probably 6 months later, they told us after 4 o'clock, they don't do anything.
I remember when Los discovered this first and brought it to the show. I couldn't believe it. I was like, surely that can't be the case. And then he pulls up the White House
You could look
website.
You could look at a month.
Yeah.
You could look at a month of schedule. Public. And there was nothing after about 3, 4 o'clock.
And then all of a sudden,
if he did, we'd have an embarrassing moment.
It was like finally the shades are raised. You could see what was happening. It was very clear.
I think Trump was overseeing the Houthi strikes while he was playing golf this weekend.
Dude, that's multitasking right there.
That's pretty good.
When you can direct live firing at enemies, targeting enemies, all while playing golf, that's impressive.
It's like George Bush. You ever seen that video? Now watch this drive.
Yeah, yes, of course. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. When we continue, Jasmine Crockett would fit right in with the who's going to pick our cotton crowd. I don't know if you heard her this weekend, but wow. Can't wait to play it for you next on Extra 106.3.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about Exmark. And where do you get that fine Exmark equipment? Well, you go over and you head over to Howard Brothers and talk to the good people over at Howard Brothers. By the way, a lot of them there have been working 10, 20, 30 years. They have the expertise. So when it comes down to that Exmark piece of equipment for your outside projects, like an Exmark mower, they'll be able to steer you in the right direction. Trusted by pros and homeowners alike, Exmark delivers precision, durability, and power to tackle any lawn job with ease. Whether it's their zero-turn speed mowers, their walk-behinds for control, Exmark makes mowing faster, easier, and better. And that's what you need this spring. You want to get the job done quickly so that you can move on to the rest of your spring and the rest of your summer. How quickly can you get to the pool? You can get to it faster if you have an Exmark. Stop by Howard Brothers today and see why Exmark is the one to have on your side for the spring. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Exmark and Howard Brothers.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Mike Plant, President and CEO of the Braves Development Company.
I think back about 2003 when I started with the Braves, and I just knew we had to create a destination that people wanted to come to year-round. We had a blank canvas, and I think we had a pretty good feel for what would be a year-round destination, mixed-use development, lifestyle center. Center, all those, fortunately, we have this incredible relationship long-term with Georgia Power. Right away, they saw our vision, they got our vision, they understood it, and they knew they needed to be a big part of that. So we're running our daily operation at the same time we're building this massive infrastructure and mixed-use development and the ballpark all at the same time.
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double-pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, VanSantLaw.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey, this is Tom from The Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed. Honesty is the best policy and we guarantee it. Finally, a pre-owned car and truck buying process that you can trust.
Get an honest car buy from The Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines. For Monday, March 17th, power is restored to thousands of Georgians who were left in the dark Sunday after a major storm knocked over trees Saturday night. At least one tornado touched down in Paulding County. Crews worked Sunday to clear the damage, and Georgia Power says those without power will be restored soon. The Georgia Bulldogs men's basketball team is going dancing for the first time in a decade. UGA takes on Gonzaga Thursday afternoon in the first round of the NCAA men's tournament. NASA's stuck astronauts welcomed their replacements over the weekend. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been in space for over 9 months. The pair will return as early as Wednesday, weather permitting. Today's weather, clear skies and a bit chilly with a high of 59 degrees. Some wind gusts left over from the weekend storms. Tomorrow warms back up with a high of 75. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. Tug and Los until 10. A couple things. Those astronauts have been stuck in space for 9 months. I wonder what it's like when you get back to Earth and gravity sets in. It seems it can't. I mean, I suppose they probably exercise in some shape, form, or fashion up there. I guess
Elon brought it up because now we're on a first name basis.
Yeah.
Once he saved free speech.
That's right.
He did talk about your bone density because there's just a normal factor when you're in a zero gravity environment. There's only so much you can do without worrying about the loss of bone mass.
Sure. That makes sense to me. That's what I'm saying. Wonder what it'll be like for them after being in space for 9 months. Like when you get here.
You get brittle? What do you do?
And do you, like if you're just walking down the street, do you get winded? You know, because you've had no exercise.
That's so interesting to think about. That the force of gravity when you're walking on Earth as opposed to when you're in that space station, how you've not experienced it for the better part of a year.
Gosh, I can't imagine it. I
mean, must feel so heavy.
I would, you for sure.
Well, just think about the food.
Well, but see,
they've been up there eating that freeze-dried food.
And then if you eat, I mean, that's me guessing here. You're going to want to eat some things that you like because you haven't done that in so long. But then if you overeat there, then it just seems like a recipe for disaster because you're so out of shape. And I certainly wish the best for them. I'm so glad that Elon's going to rescue them since Joe Biden decided not to. And we learned that Joe Biden had the opportunity before the election to go get those astronauts and did not do it because he was afraid it was going to help Donald Trump. It didn't matter. Donald Trump was going to win anyway, and he left them up there for no reason. Another story altogether, but that's what happened.
By the way, so the numbers are, in terms of muscle and bone loss, for every month you lose about 1%, which increases the risk of fractures.
Ooh. Oh, my heavens. So they've been up there 9 months.
So you're thinking about probably 9 to 10% of their muscle and their bone density is probably gone.
I'm sure there's probably some, I don't know, program, some plan that they know that they have to do to ramp themselves back up. I'm sure
it's going to be injected with as much vitamin C, all the calcium you can possibly take.
Probably a bunch of vitamins, but I bet they have some sort of workout program that they'll follow once they get. I mean, that's just me guessing.
But this is the idea of whenever you see any of these, space movies, space shows, or if they try to do it right, the reason why you have a rotation on the craft is to create artificial gravity so that the body does have to at least work against itself to move.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're just floating for a year.
Which doesn't sound all that bad. I mean, I'd float around for a year. I'd give it a roar. I'd give it a try. But something tells me they got something planned. And then secondly, that you hit, and is the fact that Georgia's going to the NCAA tournament, first time in a decade or whatever you said.
First chance to win a tournament game since they haven't won one since I think it was 2002 is what the note was.
Yeah. I wanted to ask
you. Remember, they went on that big run.
Yep.
But even then they went to the tournament and lost immediately.
That's right. And they lost at the SEC tournament immediately, one and done. I'm wondering what Georgia team shows up. Is it the one that played Auburn and Alabama tight and that beat Florida?
And beat Kentucky?
Beat Kentucky. Is it that Georgia team that plays Gonzaga, or is it the other Georgia team that just gets shelled?
Yeah, we're talking about a team in Gonzaga. I think the numbers are, and I've now, every year I say this, I'm not trying to be a college basketball expert because I've probably watched 6 games this year. I watched Auburn and Alabama. I think I've watched Auburn play 3 times because they've been good. I watched Georgia play 2 or 3 times, a handful of other SEC games. But when you are playing the Zags, you are dealing with a team, I think it's been to 8 straight Sweet 16s.
That's right.
It's that's what they do.
Yeah, they're a really good program, and I've been catching some flack from a dear friend of mine who our sons played ball together at Charleston their freshman year. And he's a graduate of Gonzaga. And, man, let me tell you, he was saying some ugly things.
Oh, no.
Text, he was like, your team sucks, and they're going to get beat. Just that.
Well, this is the Bulldogs game. This shows who the real Bulldogs are.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they're still Yale.
I don't know about that.
Still Mississippi State.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Some other people have some claims here.
Yeah, there's probably a few folks. Because Georgia's first ever football game at Georgia was against Yale.
And that's how you ended up with Bulldogs.
That's right.
You basically usurped it from Yale.
I didn't know that.
You lifted their name. There you go. Because they were like the GOATs or something like that.
But they don't have UGA.
They don't. No, you're right. Look, we've commandeered it and made it better.
But they started it.
They started it.
Yale were the Bulldogs first before anybody.
That's exactly right. Jasmine Crockett, she would fit right in with those folks that said, well, who's going to pick the cotton if we free the slaves?
It's not offensive at all.
No, not at all. Listen to this, though.
How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on, well, guess who is working the farms so that you can afford your food? Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
So she wants the borders open and people to come to the United States illegally so they can do jobs that nobody else wants to and get paid less than anybody else is willing to. That's what it sounds like to me.
Kind of sounds like indentured servitude. I believe I referred to it as that.
And we've seen that. We've seen that up in, was it Ohio? where that was happening when the guy that ran the factory.
It was a meat packing plant.
Yeah, he also owned a bunch of housing, and he would kick his tenants out
to stuff 10 to 15
in one house.
Yeah.
Sounds like indentured servitude there. I don't know if Jasmine knows about that.
Kind of sounds like, I don't know, like you're putting together a slave ship and then you're bringing them on over to work for you.
That's what it
for
sounds
very
like.
low wages.
And then she wears it like a badge of honor, though.
So here's where Jasmine Crockett, and it wouldn't take very long to debate this woman and win. You only have about 37% of Americans, 18 to 24, that actually go to college and graduate. We are talking about an overwhelming amount of Americans that are looking for a quality job that does not include having to sit through whatever professor's class or have a degree in art history or non-binary studies, whatever you want to come up with, all right? Whatever it is.
Bull crap degrees.
Right. When you talk to those people in Ohio, and like I still have, I'm sure I can still find the documentary, they all said the same things. They want the jobs in the meat plant. But they were having those jobs at $15 an hour until this program came into play, which suddenly had these people that were brought in that were here legally, but they weren't residents here. They all went in on the app.
Yes, so the CBP
The
One
CBP
at the time.
One app is how they were brought in, and they were willing to work for $8 to $10 an hour, thereby saving the meat processing plant, the meat packing plant, $8 to $10 million a year in wages.
Let that rattle around a little while.
This is the game. It is keeping Americans from having not just the job. She can say, well, who wants to go make your bed? Listen, if you pay $20 an hour.
A lot of people.
There's a lot of people, a lot of Americans who would say, yeah, I'm interested in making that bed.
You're daggum right.
Now, you know what? Because my entry floor into the hospitality industry might be, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to take care of every aspect of this bed and breakfast. But then hopefully I move to manager and then to general manager and then to wherever. She is
the natural progression.
Right. What she does not get, or what she is not explaining, is that entry-level jobs hopefully then create stuff down the road. Does she have a point when it comes to picking fruits and vegetables? Maybe. But most of those people are here on work visas anyway. They're legal.
That's right. And then you throw in Donald Trump's plan to reinvigorate manufacturing, and he's doing that through tariffs, giving American workers a place for good middle class and good paying jobs. That's what the tariffs are all about. That's the whole point. Making the things that are coming into America, that cheap stuff that's coming into America, giving American workers the ability to combat that, to compete with that. What was it you said earlier, Los? Not free trade, but fair trade.
Fair trade.
That's what we're looking for.
Keep it fair.
And that's what Donald Trump's looking for. The 90s, when we were going through all those free trade agreements, NAFTA, and now the USMCA, that's done nothing but completely decimate the American middle class, at least for manufacturing jobs and the opportunities that used to be there that are no longer.
By the way, just to have the numbers from the agriculture department in terms of your overall farm labor. So farm labor has about 60% of in this country that is work visa oriented. They're here legally. There's another 7 to 10% that are legal United States citizens. You then have this group of 35% that have no legal status here. Those are the ones that she's talking about. Well, if we do this, it's going to cost you more. Well, why don't we make sure we get them legal? Or let's offer those jobs to those regular Americans that want them.
Well, you talk about the getting them legal part. That's what Nancy Pelosi said. If you recall, was it a couple years ago?
If it's work visa oriented, we're not talking about citizenship. We're talking about work visa so that we know who's here, we know who's paying taxes, and we know what's being sent out of the country. That is the problem that we have when it's work visa oriented. That money doesn't stay here. It gets spent a little bit here, but then it heads out of the country.
Especially in remittances and sending it back home to support. And look, the way to maybe police some of that too is to tax that stuff. You know what I mean? That way, all of a sudden, it opens up more opportunity.
We're going to, at that point, we get 2 bites at the apple.
Yes,
if you want to keep it here, it's taxed once.
That's right.
You want to send it out of here, it might be taxed twice.
That's exactly right. And that's being discussed out
here. And I don't like taxes at all, but it's a gift to be here.
But when you use it to benefit the American people, then I'm in favor of it.
Totally different.
That's right. The IRS, no, I think that sucks.
Yeah, I know you know, and you're finding out how much I know.
Exactly.
We spent the time talking this morning about, so what did you pay? That's what oh, God.
Yeah. Nobody likes that. But when it's beneficial to the American people, I think everybody's in favor of it. Lawfare is all they have left, Los. They have no ideas. in the ideas that they do have are bad, and the American people reject them resoundingly.
We have a situation now where the left is down to one play. They have tried the propaganda machine. It's not working. All right. That's the reason why Donald Trump is enjoying, as of now, he's more popular than he's ever been. His policies are more popular than they've ever been. So that hasn't worked. They have tried to win elections. That didn't work.
Yeah, not working.
They've tried to rig elections. Okay, we're 5 years beyond it. That's not working as of now. So what they are now down to is lawfare, which we saw over the last 4 years. They are shopping for federal judges to try and hinder the ability of the executive branch to do its work, which ultimately that's going to go to the Supreme Court, and it's not going to work. But
right now it is in the short term.
How desperate are they now that the only thing they have is, all right, who appointed that person? Was it Biden? Was it Obama?
They'll go with us.
Let's go over there and make our case and have them use power that is not even allowed by the Constitution.
That's exactly right. The president, as the executive, has the power to protect the United States of America, which is the goal, which is why they were sending those Venezuelan gangbangers, those violent gang members.
Send them out of here.
Send them out of here. And do you have a judge that says, no, president can't do that. He can't protect the United States of America. And I'm on their side. So you're telling me you're on the side of the murderers, the rapists, the gang members in public. That's the side that you're on. And the answer is yes. You'll hear it all week this week. Well, this is the slippery slope, they'll call it. Little do they know that the president has, I think they do know. I probably shouldn't say little do they know. They all know that the president has this power. They're just trying their best to figure out a way to stop him because that's all they want to do is resist.
Babylon B had a funny tweet on Friday. It said, federal court judge makes himself president.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what they're trying to do.
It's essentially what they're trying to do. If you want to argue within the Constitution, okay, let's have that discussion. If you want to argue within the law, let's have this discussion. But the legal precedent has been set that if you have threats to your society coming from one individual country, their one end is, well, we didn't declare war with Venezuela. We haven't declared war since what, World War II?
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Well, and if you want to argue what's right and wrong, do you think the use of humanitarian parole with the CBP-1 app was a stretch to get people into the United States illegally?
Absolutely.
Because I think it was.
Definitely.
So don't tell me about
Don't tell me about something you're all into legalese.
You're worried about stretching the legal limits of the Constitution.
I'm now really into rule of law all of a sudden.
All of a sudden. It's amazing the way it works. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3 when we continue. What you need to do is find Batman. Now, you know I didn't come up with this. This is a Los. This is all.
I'm Batman.
That's right.
Find a Batman.
Find a Batman on St. Patty's Day. This is the Morning Extra Tug and Los.
Bat-O-Man.
Yes.
Batty O'Biley.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
These are your sports headlines for Monday, March 17th. From college basketball, the field of 68 is now set for the men's tourney that will begin this week. Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida are the 1 seeds in each region. As for the University of Georgia, they're in as the 9th seed in the Midwest. They will open up the tournament by playing Gonzaga on Thursday. The Hawks, they're off tonight. The team is back in action tomorrow night. They'll be in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. Spring training continues this afternoon. The Braves, they'll open up the season next week, but today they host the Boston Red Sox from Northport. First pitch is set for 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan.
HGI Wealth Advisors is your financial defense partner, preparing you for the unexpected when the inevitable happens in life. Our tailored strategies empower families to build wealth, generate infinite income, and mitigate taxes, fees, and penalties. At HGI Wealth Advisors, we help you transfer wealth while creating an everlasting legacy. Our goal is to ensure you meet your financial needs today, tomorrow, and into retirement. Our experienced team is committed to ensuring your legacy endures for generations to come. Learn more at hgiwealthadvisors.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with the doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums, and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggy. She's a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at atlantasmiles.com.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
So, the doc says I have ED. ED. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's just an abbreviation for a condition so many men have. If I was to be honest, I probably also have a little OCD. I know I have a great HMO. Heck, I even have 3 weeks of PTO. Look, don't let a few letters get you down. If you have ED, there's HELP. Go see Dr. Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He's an ED specialist that will turn your life around PDQ. ED happens to a lot of men as we age. And just FYI, Dr. Deal can give you back the confidence you need to perform on the JOB. So, ready to take the first step? Quit yelling WTF at your little BFF and visit tbtofga.com. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can fix your ED ASAP. And before you know it, you'll be screaming OMG.
I'm getting in the game. The world won't be the same. I'm good to go.
Call 404-777-1911 or visit tbtofga.com.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sale's Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Tired of financial uncertainty? Tune into Smart Income Radio and take control of your financial future. Whether you're gearing up for retirement, already retired, or looking to make smarter money moves, Smart Income Radio delivers the strategies you need to secure your wealth and future. Get expert insights, proven strategies, and practical advice to build, protect, and grow your wealth so you can enjoy the life you deserve. Smart Income Radio, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Plan smart, protect more. Retire with confidence. The president said it himself.
America is back.
And Extra 106.3 continues on as the only conservative news and talk station in Atlanta. The news changes by the day, and you can count on Extra 106.3 to bring it to you straight every day without the spin. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. If you're in here in the studio with us, we would sound like a bunch of Democrats. Just complaining, just mad. What are we complaining and mad about? Taxes. Stupid taxes. Paying taxes. Tired of it. Tired of taxes. Hate them, unless it benefits America, as I said in that last section. But that's because that's what everybody's doing right now. Everybody's, kicking around the taxes stuff, and we already know what we're paying, and it's a bunch. And
there's a whole lot of evaluations going on, a lot of aspects of the economy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we,
food prices are looking good.
Yes,
fuel prices are looking good.
Yes, I'm telling you, man. I think I paid less. I think $2.97, something like that. So those are coming down from what was it, $3.40 or something?
Then the mortgage, your interest rates. There's been some fluctuation. We had a small drop where things came out of where they were, teetering right around 7. Started living right around 6.5, a little bit below if you kind of shop it around. But that's going to be the curiosity. It's like, will we end up ticking down a little bit further over the next several months? Because we were thinking 9-12 months before we'd see this. But we're seeing this so much faster in 50-some days.
Dude, it's unbelievable. And I was tooling around flipping through radio stations over the weekend, and I heard an ad for a credit union, and they were talking about a car loan at 3.5%. I was just like, wow.
Who's doing this? All right.
Yeah, what is this all about? But it just goes along with everything trending in the right direction. And I'm sure there were some things you had to do to go along with it. It wasn't just a flat rate.
Firstborn.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that it was even being discussed, I was surprised. I physically stopped and was like, Lord, did you just hear that? Talking to my wife. Did they just say a 3.5% auto loan? I don't think that's been a thing for a while.
I think we're teetering right now where, in a good way, like we're teetering on that edge of, are we going to see a lot of this business as far as, like home purchasing? Like some of the numbers that were up last week, you have the most amount of applications for purchasing new homes, I think, in the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
So it's like we're starting to see the movement going back this direction. Is it enough to then get that ball rolling where everything economically starts working out really well, really quick?
Just hitting on all cylinders. Man, I believe it's coming. Faster than I've expected, but I do believe it's coming. And I think most Americans do. That's why you're seeing Trump's polling so high. Everybody is seeing at least the desire, like what he wants to do, what he wants to accomplish, and are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though the economy's been, a little sputtering, if you will, in the first couple months. People trust the fact that he wants to do what's best for Americans. I think that, and I believe that, and I think that's why the polling reflects that. Now, we still may need Batman. I don't know.
The old ways are done. The propaganda ways. I think about what happened when Kamala Harris was trying to win the election and the amount of money she was spending. And what did we hear from social media influencers? They approached us. They want us to advertise for.
They were going to pay us. And
they're saying, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to get involved.
My soul is not for sale.
I am not getting involved in this election in this way. Keep in mind what the Democrats have done for the longest amount of time is they will try and take regular people and make them look like they're somehow unbiased. They're just observers of what's going on. Brooklyn dad. I don't know. They say he's got a drug problem. I don't know. That's alleged. That guy, tweets everything that's wildly crazy Democrat talking points. JoJo in Jersey.
Yeah.
That woman, it's one thing after another.
Harry Sisson.
But Harry Sisson, outside of the Krasenstein midgets, because they're not actual real ones, but they're tiny people. Hence, I use the word. The Krasensteins that will tweet out all sorts of craziness. They're both like 4'8". Trust me, it's totally fine. But then you have Harry Sisson. And Harry Sisson, they looked at it like this. Good-looking kid, probably, 17 years old? He's the future. He'll be able to influence all these young voters. Harry Sisson is drawing a check where he's paid to try and put news out on a regular basis. And it's always the same thing. I want you to take a listen. It's a compilation of every single time there's any tiny piece of information out there that might be detrimental to Donald Trump. Here's what Harry Sisson says.
Major breaking news. We have some breaking news. We have some major breaking. We have some major news. We have some major news. We have some major breaking news. We have some major news. We have some major news. We have some major news. Major news right now. Major breaking news. Major breaking news.
It's always the same. We have news. We have major breaking news. At one of them, it was Kamala Harris is ahead in Iowa. She's going to win this election, people.
Yeah, major breaking news.
It's major breaking. It was always those. What I'm telling you is this. These old ways do not work anymore. What you need to do is find a Batman. What you need to do is find, I don't know, maybe the richest man in the world who's really interested in technology. And let's ride around with him for a while. Because that's what you got in Elon Musk.
No question.
All right? Like you
got
have
a guy that's rescuing people off the International Space Station.
He rescued people in space.
Dude, if you would have written that down 5 years ago, if you'd have written that down, Hollywood would have been like, oh my gosh, this is the first unique idea we've had in a long time.
Let me get this straight. So the richest man in the world is going to take an interest in politics in the interest of saving America. And he's going to do it from our side. And by the way, you will then have all of his EVs, where he's been the leader in the marketplace, where the left has bought them for the better part of a decade. They're going to be putting swastikas on them because they're so mad.
Gosh, this is the same people that said EV was going to save the earth, and now they're setting them on fire. I wonder what setting a car on fire does for the environment. I'm just curious because I don't know.
So instead of going with Harry Sisson, or the Krasensteins, or JoJo, or Brooklyn Dad,
Defiant Brooklyn
or
Dad.
MSNBC, or find a Batman. All right, like you tried a little bit. They went Jeff Bezos, and then Bezos went, this is a bad business decision. I'm coming over to y'all's side.
Exactly. There is no Batman left, dude. They don't have a Batman.
Zuckerberg was supposed to be that guy for them. And even Zuckerberg's like,
So much so, I'm sure you saw it, I think it was Friday or maybe early Saturday, where Zuckerberg, and it had already been discussed, but I think they're now rolling out where they're going to do community notes on Facebook, on the Meta platforms.
Yes.
And they're even giving credit to Twitter X and Elon Musk as the model.
Yeah.
So much. Their Batman just turned over and was like, you know what? I can't be your Batman because I'm Robin.
The richest man in the world said, yeah, we'll go save those people in space. If that's not like some Iron Man, Tony Stark sort of stuff, some Bruce Wayne sort of stuff. And meanwhile, they've got a 17-year-old kid. Breaking news. Like that is their plan. No wonder all their numbers are in the ditch.
I was looking at
That's what they're paying for.
A Harry post. Egg prices haven't gone down. Grocery prices haven't gone down. Gas prices haven't gone down. Housing prices haven't gone down. This was on Inauguration Day. 54? We have 54? What day is it?
Yeah, 50-something.
It was 50-ish. 50, 54, 55, day 55, whatever. All of those things have happened, Harry. I don't see a retraction anywhere.
I think you need to retweet it and just say, what up, question mark.
How you doing?
I'll do it, fine. I'll handle it.
Okay, right out. Go on. Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3 when we come back. The NBC poll that has rocked the left to its Marxist core next. Tug and Los until 10.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Liberals and Democrats are beside themselves with outrage. Trump voters, conservatives, American patriots, not. Did you see what Trump did over the weekend? I love this. 261 criminal illegal aliens, MS-13 from El Salvador, Tren de Aragua from Venezuela, put on planes and sent to Central America, El Salvador, where they were marched off the plane, heads forced down, then shaven, and marched into a terrorist holding facility. And the American Civil Rights Union and other Democrats went to a judge. Judge, you got to stop this. He's sending these criminal illegal aliens. They were child sexual predators, accused of kidnapping, assault, being pimps, robbery, aggravated assault of police officers. They're now in that terrorist holding facility in El Salvador. Love it. All the Democrats can do now to stop Trump is find a judge somewhere that'll say, you can't do that. By the time they found a judge this weekend, the planes were already in international airspace and the judge was ignored. I just love this so bad. Now remember, Joe Biden, when he was president, would send planes south of the border, load them up with illegals, and fly them into the United States, avoiding border checks. Trump just did the opposite. Once again, the worthlessness of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party on display, and the courage and determination of Donald Trump responding to the weakness of Joe Biden. There's a video of these thugs being removed from the planes in El Salvador. You can see it on the Fox News website. You'll want to watch it over and over. And while doing so, just imagine the anguish of Democrats and progs and Joe Biden and his henchmen as they watch their master plot being destroyed. Thank you, President Trump. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
It's here. The factory-authorized Liberty Safe truckload clearance event. For 3 days only, the Safe Market and Liberty Safes of Atlanta is slashing prices by up to 40% on top-quality American-made safes. Gun safes, home security safes, all must be sold. With 3 convenient locations, there's never been a better time to buy. Thursday, March 20th through Saturday, March 22nd only. Shop online or come into any of our 3 stores for more savings. Call 770-242-0055 or visit thesafemarket.com. 770-242-0055.
The smallest Mercedes-Benz SUV goes big on innovation. With a virtual voice assistant, dual 10.25-inch displays, and wireless CarPlay standard. A hybrid 221 horsepower Turbo 4 8-speed transmission and 18-inch wheels are wrapped in sporty style. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250 SUV. Just $439 per month for 39 months with $44.33 due at signing exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's spring sales event. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through March 31st, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
40 deaths in 7 states. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After storms full of tornadoes ripped across the South and Midwest over the weekend, this man in Alabama says he's lucky he got out of his house just in time.
A few minutes after we left and got up there that it hit, and it just destroyed it.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray is in Tylertown, Mississippi.
It's been a weekend of weather hell, tornadoes that have ripped apart so many communities as the frost sits here this morning on this debris field, and it is nasty. Multiple people have died here in Tylertown, and National Weather Service is assessing as people are mourning the death of loved ones and trying to understand what just happened with the amount of twisters that moved through so many communities.
President Trump keeps pushing for an end to the war in Ukraine, which has agreed to a ceasefire, but Russia has not yet.
Tomorrow, President Trump's going to be looking for some concessions from Russia on his call with Putin.
A lot of work's been done over the weekend.
It's still not clear if Putin is moving toward a ceasefire or if this is a stall tactic, especially after a European intelligence service uncovered a document prepared for the Kremlin by a group close to the FSB, reportedly, laying out ways that Putin should delay while continuing to dismantle Ukraine.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House, where after midnight, President Trump posted on Truth Social some Biden pardons are null and void, claiming they were signed by AutoPen and the president didn't even know about them at the time. Those were preemptive pardons to shield members of the House committee from Trump retribution after they had investigated the president after the January 6th Capitol riot. President Trump also thanks El Salvador for accepting deported illegal immigrants.
I can tell you this, these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, hombres.
Now, the deportations were challenged in court. A federal judge ordered them halted, but the Trump administration ignored that, saying the planes were already in international airspace. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The news and talk I can trust. Extra 106.3.
Top of the morning to y'all. Try to work both of them in there. My old hillbilly and some Irish in there too, I suppose. St. Patty's Day in Atlanta and around the world. A holiday I don't really understand, don't know much about, don't celebrate necessarily.
You have a Google machine, sir.
Why? Yeah, but I mean, that would take some time.
Look up the history.
I know. It's something about he was beheaded or something. Am I right about that? Didn't he get his head cut off?
Somebody was beheaded.
I think so, right? Let me hang on. I'll look it up if that's we have to.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right.
You can come into this day and either be like really egotistical about your knowledge of St. Patrick's Day, or you can just play it and say, I don't know much of anything about this.
Yeah, that's where I am. I don't know much about this.
It's like, can I get a green beer?
Yes.
Does it not kind of reduce? I mean, this is the first time we'll have Cinco de Mayo that'll come up in just a little bit around
That's
the corner.
another made-up holiday. That's a Budweiser holiday.
It is.
See, the move is today you go to, if you're like me and crowds just, I'm past all that. Today, you go to a Mexican restaurant. Cinco de Mayo, you go to an Irish pub.
I see what you're doing there. I actually like that way of thinking. I've gotten to be like that a little bit too, where I used to love going to wherever whatever was happening. Something was going on. Now I kind of like quiet.
I just don't want to wait.
Yeah, I refuse. Dude, this is why I don't go to amusement parks. You're talking about Six Flags earlier, and Los kind of gave the background on what Six Flags is and why it has its name and, all about it. But that's the reason I don't go to amusement parks. I love roller coasters. I'm just not willing to wait on them. I don't have the patience anymore.
I'm getting stranger about this. I enjoy the parents that I know and the stuff that we do. But if you told me, all right, now y'all all head out to a concert, I would say, I don't know if I want to do that.
Okay.
Like we were talking about this, one of the things that we have coming up, we have a qualifier that's going to be in Baltimore. And the area we're going to be staying at is the MGM. And it's actual casino.
Uh-oh.
And I started thinking, is this a good idea to be with other parents that I've known for several years? Because the casino will bring out all sorts of stuff in you.
Yeah, I'll go and I'll wait if I can sit at a sports book for March Madness.
Okay.
That's a good time.
A little bit different. Like, because I've done that where we have done, I think this
you
was
did that out in Las Vegas, didn't you?
We did a Mandalay like 7 or 8 years ago.
Chuck and Chernoff
Yeah,
down the hall?
that was an awesome
680
time.
fan?
That was a great time to do it there. That was a fun crowd. But if you were to tell me now, let's go do this at the actual regular portion of the casino, I'm like, no, I don't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's like there's just certain ways that I want to entertain with the crowd.
I find myself changing and doing things differently. This is so awkward, and I'm a little reluctant to admit this.
Well, they might as well. I mean, nobody's listening. It's fine. St. Patrick's Day, everybody's off today.
That's exactly right. Everybody.
It's a national holiday.
I've gotten to the point where if I see somebody in the grocery store I know, man, I do a drop step and run the other way because I'm just done with talking. I'm just tired of talking. And I've never been that a day in my life, man.
I don't believe that. I've seen you in action with strangers. Hey, how you doing? You're the nicest guy in the room.
I'm telling you, man. If you just... I want to get in there and get out and get home. I've just gotten to the point where I just don't want to just stand around in the grocery store and talk. And it's not anything against the people that I know. It's me. I'm the problem.
Okay, I get it. And here's why. So I had a very nice lady tell me the other day that, like, hey, my dad listens to the show all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, oh, it's really cool. I asked his name. It's like, oh, his name is Pat. And I was like, oh, well, tell Pat hello. Thank you for all the support. And whenever I run into Pat over near the facility, it's like, hey, let's shake hands, talk about whatever.
See, man.
Got beer. That's cool.
Yeah.
I know that when I see my neighbor at the supermarket, we're not going to have a discussion about me or radio or history or politics. We're going to have a discussion about who left their trash cans out too long. And that's the tired head discussion I don't want to get into.
Right. Yeah.
I would rather find out about, so you've got a law firm you work at? Okay, what kind of law are you into? What
I'm with you.
I don't want to hear about how Carol on the corner in the area that's not even her property keeps removing for sale signs. I don't want to be in that discussion anymore.
No, Did you say tire head?
Tired head.
Tired head.
Yeah. Yes.
Tired head's a good insult.
Okay, like the tired head moment. If you're not familiar, Jerry, and I've used this for years, but obviously we've known each other for a long time. This is the first time we've ever been working together this extensively. Tired head is when you have so little interest in the fight or the discussion, you don't want any part of it. So if I was to say, when my wife brings up who's going to be handling taxes this season, I just go,
okay, I get it.
I don't have energy for the fight.
Yeah,
it gives me tired head. The same way that when people would say on Sports Talk Radio, Pete Rose, Hall of Fame or not, I was like, tired head immediately. I'm like, I don't care whenever you think I'm done.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
Yes, tired head immediately. That's what happens.
That's the worst.
So I'm with you.
Yeah,
there's those discussions at Publix. I don't want to have them.
Yeah, I just run the other way, and I know it sounds awful, but I do. I just can't help it. And my wife, she's noticed it. She was like, "Hey, did you see?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw him." She's like, "Did you speak?" And I was like, "No, I went the other way."
Did you see that the Robertsons left up their Christmas lights in January?
It's still up.
They're still up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It
Yeah.
does not affect me one bit. Don't want to have this conversation.
Alice let her dog out again.
Well, here's the one that
somebody didn't pick up any of the dew in the common area.
Yeah, and they got the little sign up now in the front of their yard. Your dog did his business, now do yours. Clean it up or whatever. The argument that's going on in our neighborhood right now is I'll just be honest, right? It's AT&T. They've got that new fiber in the neighborhood, so they've put up the little signs.
Okay.
That say, hey, if you're wanting to switch, different option, whatever.
It's a good product. I've had it for a long time.
Okay, yeah. So we've had Comcast forever. So whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I like having the option. Like if one goes bad, you have another option.
Well,
I love that.
You like having the promotionals.
Yeah,
you can get like
for
2
sure.
years
Yeah.
or whatever the deal is.
Well, now people are mad in the neighborhood because they've put those signs out. And I mean, blowing up, what is it, the Nextdoor app and the Facebook app, where the community, because I don't know about you, but we've joined our community's Facebook page.
Yes.
And I'm going to get out. I'm going to unfollow it because all it is complaining all the time. And that's the biggest complaint right now. They're not supposed to put those signs. Okay, go take them down. Who cares?
Our Windmark Beach one is good. Our neighborhood that we're here in Georgia, that one can, for the most, I would say 95% of the time, it actually is pretty nice.
Okay, good.
Hey, my son is going to be walking dogs for the summer.
Yeah, I love
have a
that
daughter
stuff, yeah.
who's doing this. If you want to talk to some,
Because we need somebody to look after our dogs sometimes.
I've got a free swing set that I'm donating.
Basketball hoop that my kid's outgrown.
Right.
Whatever.
Very rarely does it come down to the other end of it, but when it does, I'm kind of here for it. Like, I'm kind of popping the popcorn to see where it's going.
Just to see the people fight.
Just to see. Now, part of the thing, too, and I'll give people a lot of credit, they will point out whenever they're having construction done, roofing done, or a party, they let everybody else, hey, on this street, it's going to be a little crowded. Sorry in advance. I mean, I think that's very
That's great. Yeah, being courtesy.
Yeah.
Being courteous, rather. Yeah, I think that's awesome. But I've gotten to where at least our neighborhood Facebook page is so combative. I mean, they're getting angry because I guess we have some HOA membership thing coming up, where you vote on. I know none of these people. How am I going to vote on the HOA board if I know none of the people? And all of them say the right things, and then when they get in there, they seem to do the wrong things. Very much like politics.
You better go, Tug. We need a quorum to make any decisions.
Buddy, and, they're talking about building all kind of clubhouses.
Did I ever tell you my HOA moment when I decided in my life that I will never want to deal in a friendly way with the HOA? Even when it's friends of mine on the HOA, I'm like, never going to deal with them.
No.
This is like 05, 06. We've got this little townhome in Alpharetta. And, it's nothing big, but it's a starter home.
Yeah, sure.
My wife and I, this is what we got. And we decided, because we had a dog, that we wanted to put in a little fence. Now, we're talking, like, if I called it 10 by 10, that'd be pretty generous. Like it was a very small little yard.
Just
that we
like
had.
a little dog lot?
Just a little lot.
Yeah.
Here, right? That's it.
For him to run around in.
And I went to the HOA because what happened was the neighborhood put in the stipulation that you had to use, was it synthetic wood or whatever it was, like the Trex wood or whatever. And it was triple the cost. So like to put a fence at the time was like $1,100.
Yeah.
It was like $3,600 to do it according to their rules.
Wow.
Okay. We're like 25 years old,
home.
26 in our starter home, like spending like almost $4,000 on a fence.
Right.
So I went to HOA. I explained what the scenario was, and I was asking for some leniency because other people had wooden fences. Wasn't like I was
you're
changing
just trying
anything.
to do the right thing.
And they voted it down.
Of course they did.
Now here's the deal. Like a month and a half later, somebody on the HOA wanted to put in a fence, found out what the pricing was, and they had it changed.
Of course they
And
did.
that was the moment where I was like, to hell with all of you.
Yeah.
And when I move out of here, if I could put a curse on these people, that's what I was going to do. Because I found out right then what happens, how easy it is for bad people or shady people or people who have never had any responsibility or power in their lives, how quickly they become tyrannical.
This is your villain origin story.
Yes.
It's the truth,
This is
man.
how I turned. This is how I ended up here on Extra.
He was exiled after he realized it started with the HOA.
You think I was going to go along with COVID by 2020?
Not
seeking power.
Not after
the HOA in 06.
Yes, not after putting up with the HOA. I definitely not putting up with this federal government nonsense, which I understand and completely agree because that's the thing that I've seen in our own
evil origin story.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
And that's when he turned bad.
Who radicalized you?
Who radicalized him?
Who hurt Los? Who was it that hurt Los? Because they deserve to be hurt themselves. The Democrats are in real bad shape because not only did Los notice that the HOA sucks, so does the federal government. And so has the majority of Americans. The Democrats are at their lowest favorability rating since 2004, down to 27%. That's according to NBC, their biggest cheerleaders. NBC was like, oh, my God, this is awful. Should we just not release this? We should probably keep this. And nonetheless, they did, and now we know.
Well, and that's the damning thing about the direction of the polling. And that was another aspect of what they brought up. I know we got the cut here, and I'll just set it up. So NBC gets into the general view of what is going on in the country, and they're shocked to have to let the people know how the rest of the country views the direction of it. Take a listen.
First of all, the mood of the country. We ask folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44% you say right direction, that's up since November. The last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004.
I mean, these guys
20 years.
You could just hear the concern in their voice. They're like, oh, my God, the Democrat Party is cooked, and they are.
Well, keep in mind, they're always talking about, what is it right now? It's a constitutional crisis. Look what Donald Trump is doing. He's ripping the country apart. And yet, you have a majority of Americans across the political spectrum that are saying this is as good as the directions we've been going since 2004.
And this is all under the tutelage, under the leadership, under the guidance of the great Satan.
Of Hitler.
A guy that they called a dictator.
Goebbels.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, they said this man was the most evil person to ever walk the face of the earth. And the American people were like,
give me more.
You know what?
More.
I kind of like what he said. This is, and here's the other thing. With 44% of the country saying that we're on the right path, as you noted, that's the highest since, I think, 2012. The Democrat Party say their most popular people are out loud socialists. AOC is the most popular person in the Democrat Party, followed by Kamala and Bernie Sanders. The people that scream socialism the loudest are the people that are the most popular in that party because it has pulled itself so far left you can't even recognize it. And you're seeing so many Democrats go, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't support this. You saw, I forget that I'm going to butcher the lady's name, but she was on the Bill Maher program this weekend. She's a Jewish woman, and she even calls herself a leftist.
Unger Sarson.
Yes. I didn't know much about her, so I started looking her up, and I was like, okay, who is this woman? And she said she's a MAGA Democrat. Who in a million years thought you would ever hear those two titles, those two names put together in a sentence together, MAGA Democrat.
But it's meant to draw the other side off sides. In a similar way that when we had Project 2025, they spent the whole time, Heritage Foundation published Project 2025. It was their wish list. And it started off with Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries notably, talking about, we got to stop Project 2025. This is what they're trying to do. This was their plan for the country. They don't want to tell anybody about it. And the more that the implementation of the Trump administration, their policies go into effect and how it's actually helping. When was the last time you heard them talk about Project 2025?
No, I can't. At the inauguration, maybe?
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They are right now swinging at balls that don't exist. It's just they're just trying. They're just swinging wildly at things, trying to see what's going to connect, what, if anything, will work.
And nothing has so far.
Not right now.
Nothing is connecting because you have this, and we brought it up a few times. I'll bring it up again because it's relevant here. You have the Democrats defending the people that are being taken out of the country because they're murderers, rapists, and gang members. That is who the Democrat Party sees as a win because it's going against Donald Trump. He's taking people out of the country that are gang members, that are deviants, that are breaking our laws, not just by coming in the country, but once they get here. Murder, rape, the worst of the worst. The ones that Donald Trump said, I'm going after first. And you have Democrats saying, no, you shouldn't be, including a judge that says, no, you shouldn't be able to take them out. Those criminals, career criminals, violent criminals belong in America. That's their message.
All right, big picture. If you look at what the polling is right now in terms of J.D. Vance versus any Democrat, he's ahead by anywhere from 20 to 30 points on everyone.
And wow.
All right. So
the fact that JD's going to blow Donald Trump out of the water when it comes to conservatism, that aside.
It's a different matter.
But
here's what I'm pointing out. If you want to ultimately troll, and I don't believe this is in the best interest of the country, but if you want to troll the Democrats after 2026, you just start floating out there. The 22nd Amendment, it's got some holes to it here. You got some problems here. Because the 22nd Amendment was largely put in place because FDR would not leave office. And people continued to vote for him, and yet it was damning to the country in certain ways.
Well, remember when Donald Trump brought it up in a press conference because he was trolling. He was saying...
He was trolling.
He was like, oh, I can't do that, can I?
And the discussion point was that, can you, because you're doing non-consecutive terms, serve a second term in non-consecutive? Now, according to the Constitution and the 22nd Amendment, you cannot. But I think you make these sort of jokes so that you pull these people further off sides. If you win the midterm election in 2026 and everything stays relatively strong with the Republicans, start playing those games. Like, you want to damage the brand of the Democrats harder for 2028, you joke around about that stuff, and then you let J.D. Vance run. But you pull them off sides, because the more we get them talking about these issues,
the things that don't matter,
it does not help them one bit.
Right, which is glorious.
It's great.
The more
Make
I
them
hear
fight
them,
on our front.
Absolutely. The more I hear them talking about Donald Trump being a dictator and impeaching Donald Trump, which happened over the weekend. You saw Democrat representatives talking about, well, this is impeachable. He sent those terrorists or those gangbangers to Venezuela against that judge's wishes. This is calls for impeachment, grounds for impeachment. Do it. Please do it.
I want to talk, as we got coming up next. I got a theory, but I want to talk about fighting from the high ground.
Okay, good. And I want to hear about the crazy cat lady theory, too. That's all next on Extra 106.3. We'll knock out the headlines, too.
Finally, a president that will fight for American values.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
And finally, an Atlanta news station that covers it the right way. Extra 106.3 isn't about traffic and weather. We care about the stories that matter most to you, your family, and your community. Get traffic and weather on your phone and get Atlanta's only conservative conversation right here on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Hey, homeowners, it's Flounder, and I'm here to keep you warm. Well, I won't, but my friends at Dobbs Heating and Air will. As a new homeowner myself, I prefer working with local, family-owned companies who value what matters to me and treats my home like it's their own. The Dobbs family have a passion for what they do, and taking care of people is their primary goal. So if your home needs help staying warm right now, call Dobbs Heating and Air and experience the Dobbs difference. And check them out online at dobbshvac.com.
Hey, it's Mike with Atlanta Painting Company. Spring has sprung, so let's get your home looking fresh. Right now, save 10% on any paint job Atlanta Painting Company does for you this spring. Atlanta Painting Company is still Atlanta's biggest family-owned and run painting company, and we are passionate about making your family's home look great. So get in touch. Head to atlantapaintingcompany.com to save 10% on any paint job this spring. Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
Yellow Jacket fans, don't miss your chance to lock in your seat for the 2025 football season today. Next year's home slate is highlighted by the renewal of our rivalry with Clemson, as well as ACC matchup versus Pitt, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. Into the end zone! Touchdown! Haynes King! All hail the King! Support head coach Brent Key and the Jackets on game day by visiting RamblingWreck.com/tickets to get your season tickets today. Sting 'em.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork. Come on. You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
A message for qualified investors from Noble Gold Investments. If your portfolio is over $250,000 and you aren't hedged, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. With markets at all-time highs, history tells us what comes next. A 10% allocation into gold and silver can help diversify. Experienced investors know that in times of economic uncertainty, real assets, not paper promises, offer true security. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to add institutional-grade gold and silver to your portfolio so you can hedge like the world's smartest investors. For nearly a decade, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans protect their future, turning numbers on a screen into real, tangible assets. And right now, when you make a qualified investment, Noble Gold will add a free 10th-ounce gold coin to your order. Disciplined investors protect what they've built. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com today. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 17th. Power is restored to thousands of Georgians who were left in the dark Sunday after a major storm knocked over trees Saturday night. At least one tornado touched down in Paulding County. Crews worked Sunday to clear the damage, and Georgia Power says those without power will be restored soon. The Georgia Bulldogs men's basketball team is going dancing for the first time in a decade. UGA takes on Gonzaga Thursday afternoon in the first round of the NCAA men's tournament. NASA's stuck astronauts welcomed their replacements over the weekend. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been in space for over 9 months. The pair will return as early as Wednesday, weather permitting. Today's weather, clear skies and a bit chilly with a high of 59 degrees. Some wind gusts left over from the weekend storms. Tomorrow warms back up with a high of 75. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
The 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Los just did something that I've always wanted to do and never done it.
Why not?
I don't know, but I've always wanted to do it and just never have. Using your Ring camera just to say hello to someone, to speak to them in some sort of way. And this one was his wife coming back into their house, and he yells at her, and she just kind of sticks her tongue out as she walks through because she heard him, and it's so funny. Like, that's great. That's almost better than date night right there.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Remember the question that Master Blaster asked to Tina Turner?
Which is he does a great impression, too.
Who run Bartertown? and she has to do the, you know who. Louder! so
good.
For some reason, I've always gotten a kick out of that movie of embargo lifted.
so good.
So I will always ask her, who runs Bartertown?
Yeah, that's right. But he did it over the Ring camera. She's coming back in the house.
She starts laughing like, what an idiot. I'm married to a moron.
Was she taking the kids to the bus stop? What was she doing?
At this point, no, they're at school.
Yeah, it's 8:25 or 8:29.
Yeah, they're gone. She's back in the house going about her day.
But what took her outside to have this interaction even happen?
Who knows? The ring went off, and more than likely, it's because we left mail in the mailbox all weekend because we were gone. I think I picked it up Friday. Yeah. She probably went to go grab it this morning.
And was able to yell at her. I love it.
Who run Bartertown?
You know.
You know who.
Do you want to get to Crazy Cat Lady first, or do you want to get to the...
No, it's the same thing.
Oh, okay, got it.
It really is. In warfare, for those of you that are really nerds of this sort of stuff like me, it's great outside of being on the ocean, because the ocean's flat, just how it is. But when you are involved in any kind of warfare, and it doesn't really matter what era it is, the high ground is always the goal.
Oh, sure.
Can you control the high ground? Because if you can control the high ground, you now have a force, even if you're outnumbered, that is having to fight uphill at you. Let's think about the idea of, as we got into the Napoleonic Wars and everything moving forward, if you maintain the high ground, you're shooting down at your opponents. They're shooting up at you. The chances of you striking them is much higher.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about that's why the invasion of Normandy was so crazy, because they had
uphill.
Yeah, that's right.
Even here closer, Rome, Georgia.
Rome. Yeah, that's another one up on Lookout Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
In Chattanooga.
Yeah, when you know your history, especially even your Civil War history, as the rifling got better, and the idea that if you could always outmaneuver your opponent to get to the high ground, you were always in charge of every single time that there was ever an occurrence where there was going to be a fight. You were the one in charge. They could dictate when they were going to attack you. You were the one in charge. That is what's happening right now against the Crazy Cat Ladies. I was looking at some of the numbers in terms of how the Democrats view when it comes to popularity of every other person out there. And what we now have is a party that is fully cat lady. Here are the numbers when it comes to overall popularity. CNN poll. Who do you think should be the leader of the Democrat Party? 10% said AOC, 9% said Kamala Harris, 8% said Bernie Sanders. Jasmine Crockett even jumps in at 4%. This is the party now of the Crazy Cat Lady. And so what I'm telling you is we have the high ground on almost every issue. They're the ones fighting uphill. We're the ones who get to dictate how this is going to go, and we get to beat them up long before they get up to the top, because every issue for them right now is a 20% at the very most sort of issue within the country. The 80% issues, we're the ones who occupy them.
I don't understand why they don't see that.
Because they're reckless.
Well, I know.
They're mentally reckless.
I know, but I think even crazy people can get it right once in a while, and they're not getting it right at all. You see Bill Maher turn on them. You see a lot of people that are liberals that are going, man, this party doesn't make any sense. And I contend that there's going to have to be a new party. Without a doubt, there will have to be a new party, because center-left Democrats cannot exist in a party that wants to be Marxist socialists.
The problem that is going on now is that with the cuts that DOGE is executing within the federal government, with USAID and all the money that is being basically taken away from frivolous spending, that's where a large amount of Democrat money was coming from. Now that it's relying on their donor class, the donor class is telling them, y'all better center left this thing.
Well, John Morgan, being the biggest Democrat,
flat out told them, it's like, you guys need to center somehow. And that is what they're unable to do.
They have no desire to.
But when you had money coming in from the American taxpayer that was being filtered to them, that was being laundered to them, they didn't have to center it all. They had to center for national elections to pretend. That's what Gavin Newsom's doing.
That's what he's doing right now.
And what has happened to Gavin Newsom? Now he's looked at as being awful for the Democrat Party. The mainstream Democrat Party doesn't recognize that the teat is no longer available to them from the government. They're going to have to actually go to their donor class and get them to fund this stuff. And the donor class is telling them, more like Gavin, less like you.
But that's the thing. I don't think there's ever going to be a time again that the Democrats, like those normal Democrats, those center-left that, look, I disagree with probably 50% of the time, but I still have respect for, those people are going to spin off, and there will be a third. But we've always talked about having more than just two parties. I think you're going to eventually, at some point, get that. You have to get it because there's nothing left. And when AOC, an out loud socialist, is the number one person that the Democrats think should be the mouthpiece for the party, you're talking about a woman that look, I'm not trying to bash bartenders. A dear friend of mine is wildly successful, and in college, he was a bartender. So it's not that at all. But she's never progressed past being a bartender.
When you're sitting during a committee meeting, and in this case it was Tom Homan, which was probably the nastiest one that's gone on.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there talking about separating families and how can you justify it? And Tom Homan just says, well, here's the statute, here's the law, here's the reason why. This happens every single day in America.
Yeah, when somebody gets arrested in their home for domestic violence,
we separate them from their family.
That's exactly right. We do it every day.
And she looked like a deer in headlights. So much of this stuff, I don't want to say that every congressman and women are dumb, because that's not the case. We know some very sharp people.
Sure.
But oftentimes, they do not have a grasp of 100% of the issues 100% of the time.
I don't think anybody does.
Like, I think Rand Paul might be like the closest where I'm like, ask him about anything. He's ready to talk about anything. So a lot of them, it's dictated by their staff. How much does their staff get them ready to talk about these issues? And when it's 25-year-olds that don't have a firm grasp of it, then you come across looking like you don't have a firm grasp of it. That's what happens to AOC on the regular in these situations.
But then there's the number of people in the Democrat Party that wants it to be a communist, socialist, Marxist organization, and that number's at 65% of Democrats. When they ask Democrats, what do you want this party to be? And that's the answer. There's a reason that nobody is going to be able to get the nomination because of that right there, the actual voters. Now, it's a small number because it's a 20% group.
Well, let's say that you go hardcore into talking about, and Kamala Harris wasn't far off of it.
She was dipping her toes in it every day.
She was talking about price controls. She was talking about aspects that we saw in the Soviet Union in like the 1930s. Aspects of sidestepping free markets, fair market economies, and deciding we'll dictate what the price is going to be. Remember, she was going after supermarkets where their profit margins were 1.5% to 3%. She's like, we're gonna fix that. Okay, good luck to
and
you.
The Washington Post was like, hey, you probably shouldn't say that.
This communism that you keep talking about, you should probably find a way to reel it back a little bit. If that's what it takes to secure the nomination, by the way, she never did. It wasn't like she got voted into it.
No.
But if you
it was a constitutional crisis, I bet.
But if you want to actually get it through an actual vote, you're going to have to talk about these things now with that party that has 65% believing in communism. And then you're going to have to figure out how to turn to the right, to the center, very hard to then convince the middle that you're not actually a socialist.
They can't. That's why there has to be a different party. There has to be. This is those two don't coexist. They can't coexist together. I mean, the people that we're talking about, that we have respect, even a Bill Maher, he's not going to remain in the Democrat Party as they continue to go hard into socialism and Marxism. Now, I do believe he has some of those beliefs, but I don't think it's as deep as like an AOC.
No.
And I think what he'll do is peel away and go toward that whoever the center left people are that are left.
He's a classic liberal Democrat. Now, what does that mean, Los? What are we talking about? A classic liberal Democrat. The classic liberal Democrat believes in free speech, believes in the Bill of Rights. Now, they're going to have some different views on religion than you. Like, Bill Maher is not a big fan of religion, organized religion. He's like, nope, not for me. Yet, he has these aspects when it comes to free speech and the Bill of Rights that are more in line with the way you think than the way the rest of the Democrats think. The rest of the Democrats are trying to figure out, hey, how do we censure all of these people so that they can't talk online freely?
Yeah.
We need to have thought control.
Which is what happened during COVID.
And your Bill of Rights, to hell with it. You don't have rights. In fact, they look at the Constitution. Well, it's a thing,
living, breathing document, as they call it.
Negative rights of things that we're not allowed to do. Yeah, we're trying to keep you as a country, as a government, from being able to alienate people and also to take away their freedoms and their rights.
Which is the only time that's ever happened in the world. That's why it's so foreign to these people.
Right.
Because they're used to not allowing people to talk.
So you and Bill Maher don't agree on religion. Okay, there's your point where he's going to look at you like you have two heads, and you're going to look at him like he has two heads. When you talk about free speech,
we'll both come together on that.
That's why I say he's a classic liberal versus what's going on out there right now.
Then I contend with that, because I believe that's true. I contend that it's no longer, like a right versus left thing. It's a rights versus the state controlling everything.
Globalism versus nationalism.
Yeah.
It's what it really comes down to. That's the direction we've been heading for the better part of about 15 years.
Yeah, it's a bad scenario for the Democrats right now. I mean, everything's cyclical. I know that, and we're in a really good spot. But once Trump is able to get the economy hitting on all cylinders, you're going to have people that are fat and happy again. And what do you say, Los? When people get fat and happy,
people get comfortable and they take their eye off the ball.
They start focusing on things that really don't matter and do not affect the majority of Americans. Is where we need to be.
But we have, in this battle right now, we have the high ground. We're the ones that are talking about the majority of aspects that matter to Americans. I know, I've said it before, it isn't about the egg prices. But now, as everything's coming down, what are they arguing against? Are they going to tell me that the egg prices need to be higher so that my 401k looks better?
They would. But if Trump says egg prices need to be low,
guess what? We're up on top of this mountain, and you're fighting uphill, and we're just slaughtering you. Tell me about how my mortgage rates need to be higher.
They will.
Tell me about how inflation needs to go higher. I have the high ground.
What if they
Tell me that there's 10 different sexes. I have the high ground.
I know you do, and all that's correct. But it doesn't keep them from taking that argument. Sure. Every time the Democrat Party is full of that. That's their only thing, is the resistance, whatever that is, the resistance. And they're even resisting their own common sense. They're like, if my common sense tells me that Trump's right on this, I don't care. I'm going to yell and scream for the other side.
I'm trying to remember her name. It's Angela. She's a liberal Democrat on Twitter. And her thing for the longest time, her bit was always like, hey, I'm 40 and I don't have any kids, and look how good my life is. Now it's turned into, I'm starting to question all these things, and I'm starting to recognize that I'm getting more crap from people on the left than I ever did from people on the right. Angela, I'll look it up, and I'll bring up her name. But she is starting to recognize that I feel more like you do on 80% of these issues. How is my party making me say that I need to be on their side to argue from a 20% standpoint that I don't agree with?
I had flagged a woman just the same way, Los, that was saying the same thing, that she was like, I've been a Democrat my entire life, and everything that they're saying right now does not align with anything that I believe. I mean, there's so many of them. Jennifer Say, the woman that used to work at Levi's.
Always depend on good old Stephanie to have it.
Stephanie, we love you.
Belcamini. Angela, now, here, I'll show you real quick. So she always makes it a point. She was always the liberal lady who's telling you she's bold, bold lib.
Mm-hmm. And
at this point, she's like, seriously? Why do you keep putting me into these crazy boxes because I have a difference of opinion?
Well, Well, it's because you can't have a different. In communism, you can't have a differences of opinion. Ask the people that live in China how much opinion they're able to have.
Her tweet yesterday: America's favorability view of the Democrat Party has fallen to 29%. Yet the party is doubling down on what lost in the House, the Senate, the presidency, popular vote in every swing state. Out of touch much? Question mark. She's the one. Like, why are we going down this road this way?
That's exactly right. This one. Oh, listen to it. Here's one. And her name is Stephanie Tyler. I'm a lifelong Democrat. Voted for Obama, Clinton, Biden. I spent most of my life on the left, fully convinced the right was evil and that Republicans were selfish, racist, and basically you had to sell your soul. And she's like, I held on that for a long time. And now I don't. I do not understand the left. I have to laugh because I have no idea what they're doing, which is exactly what I have walked away from. I saw that this morning. They're everywhere, all over social media. People are saying the exact same things we are. What are they doing? They make no sense anymore. They never made sense to Los and I. Jure never made sense of them. But now the folks on the left don't make sense of them either. That's how lost in the woods they are, lost in the forest they are. When Bill Maher gets stumped by a guest, you're going to love this. Hey, look, Bill's one of those classical liberals, but this is one of those moments where he takes a big swing and he misses. Next on Extra.
Latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
These are your sports headlines for Monday, March 17th. From college basketball, the field of 68 is now set for the men's tourney that will begin this week. Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida are the 1 seeds in each region. As for the University of Georgia, they're in as the 9th seed in the Midwest. They will open up the tournament by playing Gonzaga on Thursday. The Hawks, they're off tonight. The team is back in action tomorrow night. They'll be in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. Spring training continues this afternoon. The Braves, they'll open up the season next week, but today they host the Boston Red Sox from Northport. First pitch is set for 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family, an investment that will hold its value, and something that will last a long time. You're buying trust. For a limited time, celebrate all the 2025 models during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, now through March 31st. Whether you're looking to match your adventurous spirit with the 2025 Subaru Outback or lean on the reliability of the 2025 Subaru Forester, Subaru of Gwinnett has the perfect fit for your family. You'll love exploring in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, and the 2025 Subaru Legacy is what happens when we put the best of Subaru into a sedan. Plus, every Subaru model comes equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Subaru of Gwinnett has been your hometown dealership for years, and we're proud to be here to help your family find a Subaru to love for years to come. And our award-winning service department is here to ensure you've always got someone to lean on and trust when you need us. Stop in for a test drive on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth and meet our incredible staff, or start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with a doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums, and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggy. She's a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at atlantasmiles.com.
HGI Wealth Advisors is your financial defense partner, preparing you for the unexpected when the inevitable happens in life. Our tailored strategies empower families to build wealth, generate infinite income, and mitigate taxes, fees, and penalties. At HGI Wealth Advisors, we help you transfer wealth while creating an everlasting legacy. Our goal is to ensure you meet your financial needs today, tomorrow, and into retirement. Our experienced team is committed to ensuring your legacy endures for generations to come. Learn more at hgiwealthadvisors.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
What you need to do is just say, whatever Trump's doing, I'm going to do the opposite. And that's what the Democrats are doing. They're failing because the American people support what Donald Trump is doing. And they see the successes already in 50-something days. The price is coming down. The fact that the world does respect us, and they have to, whether it's economically or even on the war front these days, because Pete Hegseth says, hey, man, you're not messing with the Biden administration, Houthis. We don't play around. Now, do I think that's the smartest way we could have done things? Probably not, but it does send a positive message that the Americans are for real about freedom and we will take you out. I love the message that's being sent. When it comes to the resistance, though, it's always whatever Trump says, we're going to do the exact opposite.
I enjoyed this from Bill Maher. So this is Batya Unger-Sargon. Now, she's written for a number of publications, typically as a Republican, and I would say questionable conservative. You know, it's just what it is. To the point where Bill Maher likes her because he's never thought of her as like some hardcore crazy conservative. So she thought to himself, I'm going to bring her on my show, and I'm going to ask her about her Trump vote, which, as she pointed out, like most of us, I don't have a problem with it. Like, this is going really well.
Yeah.
But she turned the tables on Bill Maher in a way that he could not argue the point. This is where you win. We talk about the arena of ideas and how it works and how the minute somebody calls you stupid or a racist or anything else, conversation over, you won.
Yeah.
That's all they've got left. Take a listen to how this woman turns the talking points and the values that used to be the old Democrat Party and how that has changed, how Donald Trump has changed it, and now she can consider herself a MAGA Democrat. Take a listen.
You must have a feeling in your gut that this is really going badly, and I shouldn't have thrown my lot in with this team.
No, I feel so proud of, I was never a Republican or a conservative. I was a leftist, and I am still a leftist. I'm just a MAGA leftist now because...
That makes no sense.
He took a Republican Party that was built on social conservatism, foreign interventions and wars, and free trade and free markets. And he basically took an axe to all of those. He's pretty pro-gay. That's pretty obvious. He appointed the highest-ranking out gay person, Scott Bessent, our Secretary of Treasury, which is incredible. And he sidelined the pro-life wing of his party.
He has changed the party, for sure.
Okay, he's anti-war. He's trying to bring it to an end to all of these wars, okay?
By surrendering, but yes.
Okay. He's on the other side of another party that is quite pro-war and wants to keep the war going, right? And he does not believe in free trade. He looked at our destroyed manufacturing base. He looked at the downwardly mobile working class. He looked at the fact that working class Americans can no longer afford the American dream. And he looked at why that was, which was there was a handshake agreement between both parties that we should somehow have free trade, which resulted in shipping 5 million good manufacturing jobs overseas to build up China and Mexico.
And some came here.
No, what they did was they brought in millions and millions of illegal migrants to compete with the jobs that remained here. And what Donald Trump said was, we have to stop selling out the working class.
So let me get this straight. She just made an argument for, I'm going to be pro-gay, I'm going to be pro-worker, I'm going to be pro-peace, non-war, and when it comes to abortion, we're not going to have this hardcore, it can't be there, it's going to be with restrictions. Those are all largely old school Democrat talking points, and that's why Bill Maher couldn't say anything. Right. That's why his audience was sitting there going, oh, man.
Yeah, they've just put it back on us. And, but I think those are pretty common sense. I was in the Navy. I want the United States of America to be protected no matter what. Our goal as a military is to protect Americans and protect American interests. But do I want to put our men and women in uniform in harm's way just because? All willy-nilly? Absolutely not. Those are the things that piss me off when we ended up in Iran and when we ended up in Afghanistan and we did nothing but kill our own people for no gain. I don't want that. Those are places where Democrats and Republicans should be able to talk.
The fact that he has pushed, this being Donald Trump, to have IVF be covered by your insurance companies. Now, the argument is always going to be, well, if life begins at conception, you're killing cells.
Dude, I struggle with it. I do.
That's going to point out to you, his view of this is much more aligned with the center of the country than the other end of it.
I agree.
And so when she's bringing up these aspects of what is going on, she's pointing out everything Bill Maher believed in for the better part of his lifetime,
past tense,
now belongs to us. And what are you going to do about it other than say, no, can't do that?
It's because Trump endorses it. I'm out. That's
his only excuse.
Resistance.
That's his only reasoning. To have the tacit applause of somehow surrendering during a war.
Oh my God!
Was somehow some great idea in terms of finding peace. Like, what do you think both sides are going to do? It's like y'all both have to back off and back down. Zelensky at this point is claiming he wants more money because all he wants to do is continue a war that enriches him.
That's exactly right.
It's a tyrant move.
And I love the fact that, and I'm being facetious when I say love, that Bill Maher says the United States is retreating. Bill, I thought we weren't even in this war. I thought we didn't have boots on the ground.
I thought we weren't taking part in this. I thought it was a proxy war for us, wasn't it?
Yeah. So what do you mean retreat? We're looking for peace? And you're having none of it?
Warmongers.
Yes.
Again, I'm on the high ground. Bill Maher, you're on the low ground. Now, there's room for you up here, but you got to wake up.
He will not, though, because he has TDS too bad. That is an affliction that he's not going to be able to overcome. Did you, even the way he introduced the woman, he was like, don't you now have regret that you voted for Donald Trump? She's like, absolutely not. I'm a MAGA Democrat.
She's a center leftist that went, yeah, it's better over here.
Exactly right. Because at least it makes sense.
The tent's bigger.
At least it makes sense. Because the things that the Democrats are doing, the 20% side, make no sense whatsoever for America or Americans. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT and centralheat.com. Some of them are admitting that Trump is right on tariffs. Who are they? Tell you next after a Neil Bortz report to Fox News Update.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Liberals and Democrats are beside themselves with outrage. Trump voters, conservatives, American patriots, not. Did you see what Trump did over the weekend? I love this. 261 criminal illegal aliens, MS-13 from El Salvador, Tren de Aragua from Venezuela, put on planes and sent to Central America, El Salvador, where they were marched off the plane, heads forced down, then shaven, and marched into a terrorist holding facility. And the American Civil Rights Union and other Democrats went to a judge. Judge, you got to stop this. He's sending these criminal illegal aliens. They were child sexual predators, accused of kidnapping, assault, being pimps, robbery, aggravated assault of police officers. They're now in that terrorist holding facility in El Salvador. Love it. All the Democrats can do now to stop Trump is find a judge somewhere that'll say, you can't do that. By the time they found a judge this weekend, the planes were already in international airspace and the judge was ignored. I just love this so bad. Now remember, Joe Biden, when he was president, would send planes south of the border, load them up with illegals, and fly them into the United States, avoiding border checks. Trump just did the opposite. Once again, the worthlessness of Joe Biden and the Democrat Party on display, and the courage and determination of Donald Trump responding to the weakness of Joe Biden. There's a video of these thugs being removed from the planes in El Salvador. You can see it on the Fox News website. You'll want to watch it over and over. And while doing so, just imagine the anguish of Democrats and progs and Joe Biden and his henchmen as they watch their master plot being destroyed. Thank you, President Trump. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Tired of financial uncertainty? Tune into Smart Income Radio and take control of your financial future. Whether you're gearing up for retirement, already retired, or looking to make smarter money moves, Smart Income Radio delivers the strategies you need to secure your wealth and future. Get expert insights, proven strategies, and practical advice to build, protect, and grow your wealth so you can enjoy the life you deserve. Smart Income Radio, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Plan smart, protect more, retire with confidence.
Don't miss the Braves home opener at Truist Park April 4th through the 10th when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy some fun during the week, including Braves Walk on April 4th, where fans can line the streets of the Battery Atlanta as the team parades down the street and into the ballpark, welcoming in the 2025 season. And of course, the Braves are back with some iconic giveaways and ticket packages like the Chris Sale Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta Airlines on April 9th. And brand new to the lineup this year, the Hello Kitty ticket package on April 10th, which includes an exclusive Braves and Hello Kitty co-branded light-up figurine. Plus, don't miss the first Kids Club Day on Sunday, April 6th, where the first 3,000 kids will receive a Chris Sale Triple Crown to wear. Some great seats still remain, and it's the perfect way to spend your spring break. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out the fun and freebies during the opening homestand and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Defending the deportations. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump insists this is a time of war after what he calls an invasion of illegal immigrants. Defending, invoking the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, something only done 3 times in U.S. history.
Because Biden allowed millions of people, many of them criminals, many of them at the highest level.
The president on Air Force One after 2 flights of migrants, many of them alleged Venezuelan gang members, were flown to El Salvador.
You know, Democrats have made a lot of noise over this, claiming that the White House triggered a constitutional crisis by defying a judge's order. But folks here say that is not what happened at all. The plane was already in the sky over international waters when the judge declared that the president could not invoke the 1789 Alien Enemies Act to deport the alleged gang members without without hearings. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, says the administration did not refuse to comply with the court order. Federal courts generally have no jurisdiction over the president's conduct of foreign affairs.
That's Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. The president also said this last night as he keeps trying to end Russia's war in Ukraine.
We'll see if we have something to announce maybe by Tuesday. I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday.
He says they're discussing what land each side might get as the president pushes Russia's leader to agree to a ceasefire. Putin has rejected the terms of the U.S. plan that Ukraine agreed to already. Communities in the South and Midwest in tornado tatters.
All of a sudden, it just boom, 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 and just tore all everything up.
He's in Mississippi. This man in Alabama lost everything. His house now just twisted debris.
The only way I'm processing it is just living in the moment of knowing that me and my daughter are okay.
And a lot of people aren't. At least 40 storm deaths in 7 states. More than 50 tornadoes touched down over the weekend. We just got an update on the economy showing Americans shopped less than expected. Last month, retail sales rose just 0.2% from January, year over year. A 3% increase. Economists were expecting much more. America's listening to Fox News.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily. It helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Want weather? Grab your phone. Need traffic? Grab your phone. Conservative news and talk, also on your phone. Get the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. Glad that you're here. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms on St. Patty's Day. I assume that's why you played the old U2 there. Top of the morning to y'all. That's the mixture of St. Patty's Day and Old Hillbilly.
Man, I missed it. Chris Matthews was on MSNBC calling Trump and Elon liars.
Oh, about what this time?
Who knows? But again, it's another boomer.
I know.
Nobody will listen to. But this is what their game is now. Here's the 80-year-old being like, they're lying to you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right, buddy. All right. Now you're
still operating for an old playbook.
Yeah, you have zero evidence of it. As a matter of fact, the American people believe the exact opposite.
And he does look like warmed over death. And I'm sorry to say this, but I just wanted to give you a visual of what Chris Matthews is at this point.
I've never been a fan, never paid attention to him.
Like if you put him on strings, like his wrists and his arms and everything, you could like do a marionette kind of thing, like right into a coffin.
Yeah. Oh my
and you wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, does the suit not fit perfectly?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I mean,
like I said, sits there, he goes like, and this will happen to you at some point, Tug.
Oh my! Well, I hope not.
What we'll do,
I don't sound like that fool.
Is we'll put you on strings and we will have you. We'll go right down the center, and then you just jump into your own.
My own casket.
I've been told that coffins are for vampires, caskets are for people.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yes, you'll actually pull the door closed on your own casket.
That's right. With
your string hand.
Yeah.
So that's what Chris Matthews looks like at this point.
Indeed.
Just to give you a visual, I'm not knocking the man for being warmed over death.
Yes, right. And an idiot.
It's just, you either get it or you don't. I mean, he's talking about how low the numbers are for the Democrat Party as of right now. By the way, there's a poll that'll show you that their favorability is as low as 7%.
Yes, there is.
All right, it goes 7%. Going to 27% is being generous because that's the one you're able to find from NBC. So anywhere between there is legitimate, and yet he's sitting there calling, well, the only reason this is happening is because the other side lies. We don't have that kind of power, Chris. We never have.
Yeah, right. Well, now we have an ability to sidestep the mainstream media, which is that's where he lives, right? Nobody invests any time with them anymore. No one listens to them. No one believes anything they say. So when they shout lie or they shout dictator or they shout Nazi or whatever other name and trope they want to use, nobody's paying attention. And he doesn't understand what's happened. He was like, I'm saying the same things. How are our numbers so low? They used to be great.
Doesn't work that way anymore. I thought this was funny to hear. It was a couple people that were on Rogan's podcast. I was listening over the weekend, and he was talking about how the far left has pushed this idea that there's some network of podcasters all paid for by the Republican Party, and we need to create our own. And as Rogan's laughing about it, he's like, are you kidding me? He goes, this is just a bunch of me and my friends, and we go on each other's shows. It's like, it's not like we're being compensated by the Republican, but that is their game. Like, have you seen Michelle Obama's numbers for their podcast?
Yes.
It's abysmal. Because if you're not interesting, people don't want to hear from you.
And let me tell you, they're not interesting.
No.
Holy cow. I just found...
Find better ideas in people.
They shared some of the show. It was probably 10 minutes of it that I watched, and I was in disbelief. I was like, good Lord. I mean, you were in the White House for 8 years. Surely there's some stories that you could share that would be compelling and interesting to someone.
It was like
but it wasn't.
It was a brutal exercise in having two people interview each other the entire time without actually having a discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. And her brother is such an oddball.
Yes.
What a weird dude. It's not going to work. And, you had the Democrats during the leading up to the election. They were trying to pay people to have Kamala on. And Rogan said, I would have had her on, but she wouldn't cooperate with, she wanted me to come out there. I could only ask certain questions, and it has to only last an hour.
Shorter.
Yeah. They could only do an hour. Who's going to do that? Why
with
would
the ability to edit too?
Why would he give his platform that tarnish?
And he didn't.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. But why? The Democrats thought for sure this would be easy, man. We'll just pay him.
He flat out told her. And I'm going to go with his version of the story long before hers, because I've heard now every version of the story when it came to all the different interviews he did. He said, listen, we just put it out there. Come on out here. We'll do 2 or 3 hours. And that's what it is. He's like, we'll just be able to talk. But he didn't want talking points. He didn't want the ability for them to edit. He just said, let's just have a discussion. That's all we're doing. We're going to find out about people.
She's not capable of that.
Not at all.
And you saw it, I saw it, and the American people saw it, and that's the reason Donald Trump won all the swing states. Because they're like, I don't know what she stands for. I certainly hear some communist ideas in there. The Washington Post has called her out for it. I see that. I hear that. I don't want that.
And now the beautiful thing from overnight, if you're just now getting up and getting over to, first off, where have you been? We've been on since 6.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Come on.
Join us.
Come on.
The left is losing their mind over AutoPen because Donald Trump last night.
They're terrified.
Pointed out that all of these situations
pardons
with the pardons are now null and void because Joe Biden didn't sign any of them. He wasn't even there.
He was at the beach. One time he was in Georgia. No, South Carolina.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
These were all signed with him not being there. He's like, and constitutionally, you can issue a pardon as you're the chief executive. You are the president, but you actually have to sign it and be the one to do it.
AutoPen is for accommodations. Is for awards.
You did a great job. Here's your award.
Here's your award. It's an AutoPen. It looks like Joe's signature. Everybody's happy about it. Not when you're making actual decisions based on your constitutional authority as president. It actually is null and void when every signature looks identical in these pardons and in some of the bills that were passed. I think it's great.
Fauci's back in the game, baby.
Yeah.
January 6th committee, back in the game.
Could be. And this morning, another thing that they're melting down about, and they're actually talking about it on MSNBC right now, because that's what we keep on in the studio about most of the time, is the fact that they are defending the illegals that were taken out of America down to Venezuela, the rapists, the murderers, the gangbangers, the gang members, the terrorists, because Tren de Aragua was labeled a terrorist organization by Donald Trump. And they're defending them, not the American people. They're not saying that, yes, they should be out of here. Maybe there was a better way of doing it. Nope. They're saying Donald Trump shouldn't have done it. Now we're in a constitutional crisis. He is a dictator. This is authoritarianism. So they're in favor of Tren de Aragua and not Americans. They're losing again.
Let's talk about something that is beautiful that is going on. Especially with these deporting over to El Salvador and these other places across Central America. When people talk about an industrial complex and they talk about the prison system, Yes, we have private prisons around the country, and they are there to house the people who have committed crimes, but they're also moneymakers. That's part of what happens. The rest of the world is starting to catch on to this. And so if the choice is, I have a gangbanger who's living in a 4 or 5-star luxury hotel in New York. We know he's committed these crimes. We know he's been active as a criminal. What is it going to cost to keep him here versus send him to El Salvador for pennies on the dollar and they'll house him like a meat market?
Pennies on the dollar is key because what do we send? Almost 250 people?
Yeah. I think it's 238 was the number, something like that. Yeah.
$6 million is what we're paying them, which is a drop in the bucket.
A drop in the bucket
compared to what we would have to do here. But the Democrats are caught in this place where they can't side with Donald Trump no matter what. So they have to
send out gang members and rapists and murderers
to jail? How could you?
They were going to be the ones who were going to solve the next long-lasting light bulb.
Well,
they were going to put us on Mars or perhaps stop the meteor from hitting the Earth.
Yes. They're going to cure cancer, I heard.
You just had to give them more time. Yes. I got to find these names again because I got to always associate it to a name.
Yes. But that's the thing. The Democrats are caught in a place where they have no policy. They have no direction. They have no leadership. They have nothing that is in common with the American people. So their only choice is to resist Donald Trump. And they're sticking to it so hard that they're in favor of terrorists and gang members, prison gang members being in America versus Donald Trump having them moved. They're saying it's a constitutional crisis. These are the same people that were just fine with Joe Biden bringing in people in the CBP One app using basically a method to say, well, these people don't have any other choice, so we're going to allow them to come into the United States. We're not going to vet them at all. We're going to stretch the bounds of legality. And now, all of a sudden, they have a problem with it.
And we're going to reach out to our partners, our donors, the people that need workers on the cheap, and that's where we'll send them.
Humanitarian parole was what I was looking for. That's what they were using. Humanitarian parole was it was meant for, like, if you were sick, let's say you lived in Central America and you were sick and the only person that could get you healthy was a doctor in the United States. Humanitarian parole was used to let you come to the United States, get the medical treatment, then go home.
Right.
Joe Biden said, what if we get them here and they just stay?
Why don't we just let them hang out?
By the thousands.
Yes. And we will fly them on the taxpayer's dime.
What do you think?
And we'll do it in the middle of the night, and nobody will pay attention as we bring in 300,000 people this way.
What do you think? And now, all of a sudden, they're fine with bending those rules.
Yes.
But these rules, I can't bend those. We need to keep the gang members in the United States. The American people do not agree with you, and the polling shows it.
Aja Paul Singh Kalra, 44 years old in Chicago. He was going to cure cancer.
That's what I heard.
But he has a problem. He's a citizen of India. That's not his problem. His problem is he's been convicted of sexual misconduct with a minor, intimidation and battery, arrested in Louisville, Kentucky. So now he's not going to be able to cure cancer as we send his ass out of here for sexual misconduct with a minor.
Michael Moore is who said that. He's like, we can't send these people out of here. It was last week when we covered this. Michael Moore says deporting illegals that could have cured cancer. That's the one that Los just brought up. Now, sexual assault, is that what it was? Was it sexual assault?
Yeah, that was for some. Okay, I get it. Different areas of the world do not look at there being such a thing as the difference between adults and minors. That's just that you're going to see it all over the place.
Weird and gross.
For instance, there's a 19-year-old Guatemalan alien who faces felony charges of aggravated child rape over a Lawrence, Massachusetts child who is 9. These are the people you're sending out of here.
That's what the Democrats this morning on MSNBC are defending.
That's who they're fighting for.
They're fighting not for you, for that person.
They're at the bottom of the hill, fighting uphill. We have the high ground. We have the moral high ground. Just keep pounding them.
It is a losing battle, and they still will not change course. They have their marching orders, and they've been told to resist, and the only resistance they have is whatever Donald Trump says is bad, and we're going to go the opposite way. Even though the American people agree with it at gigantic numbers from leftist polling outlets.
You realize how you have to change the mentality that what happens is the communist waits for their download. It's kind of their nature. They don't want to really be in charge much of anything unless it's, hey, my leader's not communist enough, I'm going to deal with him. But they wait for their download and their marching orders. They have no independent will of their own, in part because self-determination is something that they run from. So just think about the difference in 2 years ago. The way to show that you were a citizen of the earth and that you were the smartest person in the room and that you cared more than everybody else was to go get yourself a Tesla.
Has to be done.
Now the download is, you better burn them all, you better put swastikas on them, you better attack them. And to see the guy over the weekend who, how dumb must you be? Now I'm going to use dumb appropriately here.
Is this the one that gets out of the Hyundai?
The Subaru is what he was driving.
Okay. Yes.
He got out of the Subaru, left it on the street, went and put the swastika marks and everything else on the car, ran away, and then thought to himself, if I just go back for the car later, it'll be fine. And when he showed up 2 hours later, the police were like, welcome.
Yeah, we've been waiting on you.
Yeah.
And think about it. These are the people that said you must switch to EV and there must be a mandate. Remember, Joe Biden had the mandate. It wasn't until Trump came in.
California is going to get rid of all combustion engines by 2035. You must be EV.
You must. And now they're setting EVs on fire. We did a show over with the Smyrna Fire Department where the firemen told us about how much hotter these EVs burn. It takes hours upon hours upon hours upon hours.
It's a different technique entirely.
Different technique.
Yep.
They have to do everything differently than a regular car fire. So was it ever about the environment? Of course it wasn't. It was about power and control. We're going to tell you what to do, and we're going to make sure the people that we want to reap the benefits of being able to sell cars get those benefits. It was never about the environment, because if you're mining for oil or you're digging for minerals to create the batteries, you're still digging into the earth. There's nothing green about it to begin with.
See, it's different in my area of the world. Like South Forsyth, I will tell you, is the Tesla capital of the world.
Alpharetta's right up there.
You get into competition, we'll see. But I will tell you.
I'm not competing, I've just noticed.
My neighbors that own Teslas, that was never a political statement. You know what it is? Like my neighbor Justin, it's fast and it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's why he likes it. And my neighbor across the street, it's fast and it's fun. That's why he likes it. For my brother-in-law, I think he bought it to tell everybody because he was part of the whole, like, I'm going to get the hybrid, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to buy the EV. I would wonder how long he has that Tesla and whether or not I can be like, listen, I'll buy it off you off the cheap.
Yeah. Let me get it real cheap.
It's like an 8 or 9 year old Tesla, like what, $5-7 grand?
The repair, I hear, is expensive though. Like when, and I don't know at what point does it need repairs.
Yeah, when it needs the new battery.
I have no interest in
the
EV.
What was it? The new battery costs more.
Yeah, well, that was a Ford. Okay,
what was it? Yeah, some vehicle had like the battery was cost more than the actual repair of the vehicle.
Somebody bought a Ford. I remember this, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. They bought a Ford. Let's say they spent $5,000 on it. Well, the battery died, and it was a $14,000 battery.
Yeah.
So that didn't work for me.
Evens out a different way, doesn't it? Like, I just buy a new car.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. I have no interest in EV, but I never have. It just doesn't. This is not what I want to do. I like my old pickup truck. I'm not mad at anybody that wants EV. I just don't want you to be misled into thinking that this is a green product, because green is a marketing campaign. That's it.
You've been very adamant about pointing out what it takes to make those things happen. It's a wild world where, because of a bullet that rang out in Pennsylvania, the richest man in the world saw it happen and said, that's pretty kick-ass, I'm going to vote for that guy. To then have an entire group of people that viewed EV as the future of the world and something we had to mandate for power and control, then turn on the largest and best EV builder in the world. Think about that turn of events.
The only one that can make it work.
That dude who pulled the trigger, who we still don't know much about, don't know anything about him, he changed the world in the way that he never thought. He thought, I'm killing Donald Trump and I'm saving the world. I'm doing this for whoever the organization I'm working for. And they had no idea how it was actually going to change the world.
$7.5 billion, this is from Politico, for electric chargers. And I think they ended up with, 100 of them. There for a little while, it was only like 8. And then it was like 100 or whatever the number is now. So they can't do it the people that mandated it can't do it. Elon Musk can, and now they're burning down Elon Musk. Charging stations, Tesla charging stations, anything to do with him. It was never about the environment. Now you know. We've been telling you forever. You probably already knew, but there's some people out there that have no idea. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. They'll give you 10% off any job, no matter how big, or 12 months, 0% financing. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and especially with all the crazy weather that we've had, you know your house is taking a beating. Now may be the time to call 877-9-SOUTHERN or go to southernexteriors.co. A COVID opinion piece that is, 5 years too late. Interesting where it is, though, where we found it. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Pete, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Yes, there's a lot of things Trump is doing that I don't understand, but overall, what a great job. It is a joy every day to sit and watch the progressive left melt down over being exposed for exactly what they are. Losers. Keep it up, Trump.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Have you thought about securing your hard-earned assets? Do you have concerns about the future? Protecting assets is crucial, and that's where Nelson Elder Care Law excels. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we provide absolute assurance and peace of mind through our trademarked Absolute Protection Trust, tailored services in estate planning, probate administration, Medicaid crisis solutions, guardianship, and conservatorship. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and empower informed decisions. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com for asset protection and peace of mind.
Are you tired of dealing with loud, ugly, drafty garage doors? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Now is a great time to upgrade with brand new, efficient, quiet, and beautiful garage doors. Your garage door is the biggest opening in your home, which is why it's such an important part of your home's curb appeal and energy efficiency. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078. Get started today by visiting us at allfourseasonsgarages.com.
True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They're locally owned and operated, and you can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
Engineering manager positions offered by Wexler Engineering and Consulting Incorporated in Decatur, Georgia. Manage and execute a variety of projects required for Wexler's industrial thermal oil systems, industrial heating, drying, biomass renewable energy for wood product industries. Plan and execute strategies for completing projects on time. Must be able and willing to travel domestically and internationally up to 40%. If interested, please submit resume to ANAMCGARY at WECHSLERTECH.com.
Now is the time to go electric and save big during Jim Ellis Chevrolet EV Super Sale.
Right now, get $5,000 off MSRP on all Equinox EV RS models and a massive $14,500 off MSRP on all Silverado EV work trucks.
Chevy EVs are designed to go the distance, delivering the performance, range, and technology you need without the gas pump.
And with so many models to choose from, finding your perfect EV has never been easier.
Jim Ellis Chevrolet makes buying simple and hassle-free. No high-pressure sales, just a transparent customer-first approach.
Plus, their finance experts work with you to secure the best rates and terms.
Shop in person on Peachtree Boulevard.
Or visit JimEllisChevrolet.com to make the switch today.
2024 Silverado EV. Example stock number SCV4001. MSRP is $73,345. After the Jim Ellis $14,500 discount, final sale price is only $60,845. 2025 Equinox EV RS. Example stock number EEV5021. MSRP is $48,535. After Jim Ellis $5,000 discount, final sale price is only $43,535. Just add TAVT and state fees. Expires March 31st, 2025.
Jim Ellis Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Monday, March 17th. Power is restored to thousands of Georgians who were left in the dark Sunday after a major storm knocked over trees Saturday night. At least one tornado touched down in Paulding County. Crews worked Sunday to clear the damage, and Georgia Power says those without power will be restored soon. The Georgia Bulldogs men's basketball team is going dancing for the first time in a decade. UGA takes on Gonzaga Thursday afternoon in the first round of the NCAA men's tournament. NASA's stuck astronauts welcomed their replacements over the weekend. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams have been in space for over 9 months. The pair will return as early as Wednesday, weather permitting. Today's weather, clear skies and a bit chilly with a high of 59 degrees. Some wind gusts left over from the weekend storms. Tomorrow warms back up with a high of 75. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Thank you, Jeray. 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 10% off any job, windows, doors, gutters, siding, roof, especially if you got a leak in the roof with all the rain that we had around the metro Atlanta area. Then call them up, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co. And they'll give you 10% off or 0% financing for 12 months, no matter the job. Dre is, kind of new to the team. Joe Virgin River, our former board op / producer, has moved on, and it opened up the door for Dre to join us. And we've worked with Dre for a long time. So
he was deported.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but now that you've let the cat out of the bag.
We found out that JoJo was not here with a legal status.
That's right. So we
sent him to the Braves radio network to run the entire thing.
That's right. But so you probably hear Dre talking a little bit now, maybe wonder who he is. But there's a new Dre. We have a new Dre.
Dre 2?
That's right. Dre 2.0
a lot of Jerrys.
That's right. Jerry in Woodstock said he's been listening for about a month. Welcome, sir. We
Thank
appreciate
you, Jerry.
it. And then
you're Dre 2 now in Woodstock.
That's right.
J2 in Woodstock.
J2, that's right.
Hold on to that one.
That's right. So when you call back and when you call in, just say, hey, it's J2 in Woodstock. And
J2
we'll know
in Woodstock.
exactly who you are.
That's Jerry number 2.
There you go.
Dre.
That's exactly right. And then
he's right around the corner. I might have to meet him for a beer.
I don't know why you wouldn't. And Liberal John listening in too. Good morning, Liberal John.
Good morning.
Hope you're well. There is an article that came out in the newspaper of record. That would be the New York Times. Interesting. We all know how badly we were misled about this event that changed our life, and that was the name of the piece, was how bad we were misled in the event that changed our lives.
May I point this out real quick before we jump into it?
Yeah.
Misled is one thing.
Yes, lied to is something totally different.
Lied to is another thing. I'm not even... We were told we couldn't have a discussion. That somehow that information and that sharing different ideas or sharing different experiences was a bad thing. And I think that's, as you get into it, I intentionally did not read it. I wanted you to tell me about it. That's the part where I'm like, okay, let's see how much you admit to.
So they don't admit to a lot. That's the thing. She says, the lady who wrote it says she feels like she was misled. And I kept thinking as I was reading this, but you're a journalist. Aren't you the tiniest bit curious about any of the possibilities, any of the things that were said or questioned? And, for us, we're not journalists, and we question everything every day.
Because the article does point out that, hey, more than likely this came out of a Chinese laboratory.
They do admit
which
that.
We were talking about months after all of this occurred. This was a talking point when we found out. And it was through a Freedom of Information Act. This wasn't like it was volunteered. We found out that money had found its way from the NIH to EcoHealth Alliance to this weird facility called the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Like, what the hell is that?
You're a conspiracy theorist.
Well, but see, that's the thing.
So, and by the way, we were like, well, what's the money for? It's like, well, it's because Barack Obama had made it illegal to do gain-of-function research in the United States, so it's been offshored to places like Ukraine and like China.
And as a matter of fact, they go into the article says the most two recent pandemics, one in 1977 that happened in Russia and then 2020 in China, were both released accidentally. It didn't naturally occur as we were told. And everybody knows that it was gain-of-function research. Now even the New York Times is admitting it. But she goes into and says, hey, they're still doing this, and it's really, really sloppy. Get ready. It's probably going to happen again.
Yes, it's still happening. And now, in the interest of national security, what I'll say is I get why we were so involved, and I get why the CIA was involved in spending money in the way that they were doing on this. The idea has always been, in a world that's trying to avoid nuclear warfare, all right, because that's the end of everything for all of us. What happens when you can engineer bioweapons that will take out your opponent but not do long-term damage to the rest of the world? That's the goal. That's the goal of gain-of-function research. Can you, for instance, if you were to have a potential war with North Korea, are you able to isolate a virus that would just attack the North Koreans? That sounds like awful, right? But this is why this stuff happens. So the fact that it got out because of sloppy techniques, yet we weren't allowed to discuss that 5 years ago.
You're 5 years late to the party, New York Times. It's almost like, so remember Saturday Night Live? We always joke about that Saturday Night Live skit, the one that was like, hey, I can't wait to get COVID so I get 7 days off from work. It's great. Had they done that, because I think that was probably a year or two ago now, had they done that in the height of the global pandemic, the COVID pandemic, it would have been funny because it would have made sense and everybody was already questioning, but they were afraid to step out of line, just like the New York Times was probably, my guess, paid to not step out of line. They knew where their bread was buttered.
This is not tinfoil hat stuff, so I don't need Jeray to give me the tinfoil hat.
Not yet. We might get there.
But one of the things that we've gotten a chance to talk about from a medical standpoint was Dr. Sabine Hazan, who did a lot of work on COVID. She's got a couple of papers out there. She talks about the microbiome. And if you have certain gut health scenarios going on, you seemingly cannot get COVID. All right, with that being known, does that not enhance a bioweapon to where if you wanted to go after a particular society, knowing, like for instance, the North Koreans are in large part malnutrition. They're on average 2 to 3 inches shorter than their South Korean counterparts. So you come up with this stuff knowing they won't have the natural defenses. That's how you keep from having to nuke a place. So I get that there's value here, but the fact that we couldn't talk about this
that
stuff,
you're lied to,
and I was said that if I brought up, hey, why is there money going from the NIH to EcoHealth Alliance for gain-of-function research? And why did it go to the Wuhan Institute of Virology? And yet I'm supposed to be told that somebody ate a bat.
Yeah, because that's believable.
Because that's the part I still get frustrated about. There's one of the topics that I'd put on, I had it on my sheet, but then I didn't put it on there, but I want to bring it up anyway. So Dr. Lena Wen from CNN, she was one of the people that early on was telling you all about, you got to get this shot. You've got to get this stuff. With that not being said, remember, we had an entire community of people that joined Facebook and were saying, hey, I took this and I'm having these weird experiences. And those groups were shut down. One of the ones that was talked about very early on was with women and talking about my menstrual cycle is off.
My wife's sister.
Things are going crazy here.
Way early.
Very early. Happened in our house. To the point where you said, wow, you might not be able to have children after this. Yet, if you brought that up, you were shut down, caught a strike because you couldn't do damage to a government program by pointing out, hey, why is my wife having this issue? Why are other women? Because what they worried about was critical mass of people joining Facebook and having 10,000 women talking to each other about this.
That's right. And then you could even boil it down even further with the kids that are in the healthiest part of their life, athletes, college athletes, that were having these heart issues all of a sudden. And anybody that brought it up, anybody that questioned it, was again taken off of social media, just like you're talking about with the other. But the problem was the federal government was the people behind taking you off social media that we eventually learned.
And I know this topic comes up, and we're now hitting the 5-year anniversary. Like, Jeray brought it up. But this is the 5-year anniversary of you being sent home?
At your old gig.
At my old gig, March 17th. Won't
Sent him home.
ever forget it.
I will still remember that we're getting into the 5-year anniversary of we had all of the conference basketball games shut down, and then we didn't have a tournament. And now working on the sports side, I'm looking around going, so what are we going to do now?
What is there to talk about?
So this is how I found the UFC. Thank you, Fight Island.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dana White. That's how I found out about the how much fun that entire league is. But to say misled is a really friendly way in the New York Times to say you weren't allowed, you were censored.
She's the victim. If you read this article, she plays the role of the victim, Los. And I'm like, you're not the victim. Ultimately, I guess we're the victim, truly. But you had the opportunity to throw up this flag a long time ago. It didn't just come to you on March 16th when this was posted. I would imagine there are plenty of reporters, journalists out there that were thinking this back when we were, but knew they couldn't say it.
I just know that you and I got up on a stage and talked about this over at Governor's Gun Club. And I was laying out aspects 2.5, almost 3 years ago, and saying these are the things we should be concerned about. Remember, I talked about long-term damage to our immune systems because we were seeing some of this data and none of it was being discussed. Did you do long-term damage to your immune system in doing this stuff? I think when I look back on all of this, you know how everybody talks about everything always goes back to Nazi Germany. It's like history all began with Nazi Germany, and it didn't, but it is important to bring this up. When you understand religious fervor and what has gone on over the centuries where you say, well, why would you imprison the Jews? Why would you do this? Well, why would in Nazi Germany you decide, okay, we don't need Jews or gypsies or handicapped people or anything else. This is where we're going to get rid of them. And to know that there was a fervor there where nobody questioned it. I thought, well, the world's gotten beyond that. There's no way that could ever happen again. It happened in 2020. There was such a crazy fervor that people surrendered their rights and their ability to think for themselves.
And they're still willing to do it right now.
And I'm sitting back going, what are we doing?
But the crazy part is that there's a portion, and I don't know what the percentage is, 20, 30% of people that are willing to, still to this moment. My sweet Aunt Peg is one of them. She is still on board saying that the COVID vax is great and you should still get your boosters and everything that happened was legitimate. She has not even gotten to the point. Dude,
reading the article and going,
did
it still come out of a wet market, Aunt Peg?
Yeah. I'm not kidding you, dude.
Aunt Peg brought to you by Pfizer.
You would think
Aunt
so.
Peg brought to you by Pfizer.
I'm not kidding. She got into an argument with my mama on Facebook. I'm like, Mama, don't argue on social media.
Oh, sweet.
But it's the truth.
I love it when this happens.
She's still in that. So there's still a portion of the people that are like, no. We still need to be locked down. We still need to give up that power. We still need to, whatever MSNBC tells us, we still need to yield that authority.
I think I still have the audio somewhere. This is like February 2021. And understand, I did a podcast in December of, actually, I take this back. This is December of 2019, and I bring up with the guy that I'm doing a podcast with, Brian Hoyt. Hey, you see some weird stuff coming out of China? And this was like the start of this stuff. By February 2020, we're going to a podcast break, and I'm frustrated talking about all this stuff and how everybody's taking crazy pills, and here's the madness of what's going on. I felt like I had to put on like a crazy shirt every day to blend in with everybody. So I'm like, I'm not crazy, but I got to pretend along with y'all.
I got to blend in, yeah.
And I finally just went, yeah, right. This came out of a lab in Wuhan. Like, I flat out said it in early part of 2020. I'm like, none of this adds up. This is where it came from. And immediately it's, we got to send him to Extra.
He's got to go down the hall.
He is way too abrasive.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorist.
But that's the thing.
It made the most sense. It's Occam's razor.
Of course.
And to say, well, we were misled. That's the best the New York Times can come up with. We were misled.
And act like the victim.
Yeah. You were part of it.
You led the charge on it. You took money to censor people. Now that we know through USAID how many outlets took money to censor people.
And to think about how scared any of them thought about, what if they Alex Berenson me? What if they take a writer who's been covering all this information, who puts information out there, and they ostracize me the way they've done that to Alex Berenson? And there's one article after the next about how he's the pandemic's wrongest man. Go back and read that article.
And then the last paragraph of this one. We may not know. This is a woman that just admitted that everything was bullcrap and that is playing the role of the victim. We may not know exactly how the pandemic started, but if research activities were involved, that would mean 2 out of the last 4 or 5 pandemics were caused by our own scientific mishap. Let's not make it a third. She's still not fully admitting. Like, she spent a whole article admitting that it was all bullcrap, but then closes by saying, hey, leftists, don't come at me. We still don't know exactly. We just know something happened. What a cop-out. The last paragraph is a complete cop-out.
Come sit on Daddy's knee. I'll explain all of it to you. Won't be that hard.
Morning Extra and Extra 106.3.
That's when I know the left, like my leftist friends, give up on this, because by the time I'm done, they're sitting back going like, I don't even know what EcoHealth Alliance is. I'm like, go look it up. Go look up Peter Daszak.
That's right. David Sachs gets it now. Good for us. Next on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hour, brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Had all that bad weather and rain. If you got a leaky roof, you need to get it fixed right away. Water, the worst thing that can happen inside your home. Get it out, get it taken care of. They'll give you 10% off any job or 12 months, 0% financing. Their number, 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
These are your sports headlines for Monday, March 17th. From college basketball, the field of 68 is now set for the men's tourney that will begin this week. Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida are the 1 seeds in each region. As for the University of Georgia, they're in as the 9th seed in the Midwest. They will open up the tournament by playing Gonzaga on Thursday. The Hawks, they're off tonight. The team is back in action tomorrow night. They'll be in Charlotte taking on the Hornets. Spring training continues this afternoon. The Braves, they'll open up the season next week, but today they host the Boston Red Sox from Northport. First pitch is set for 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan.
Those storms that came through town made a mess for a lot of people. And now you need to know who you can trust to make things right. Look no further than Southern Exteriors, 25 years experience. They know storm damage cannot wait. That's why they offer emergency responses and free estimates to assess the damage and get your home back on track. Southern Exteriors, they're not knocking on doors in the neighborhood, which I know you've ran across, and so have I. Had one happen this weekend. Now I'm able to look in the Ring camera. I see their shirt because they always wear the Storm Chaser logo. I see the Storm Chaser logo and I don't even answer the door. Garage doors open. Cars are in front of the house. Dogs barking. Tug's not home. Not going to the door for the Storm Chasers. Southern Exteriors, they do roofing, gutter, siding, windows, and they have the manpower and expertise, plus the resources to assist in restoring your home and giving you that added peace of mind. If your home or business have been impacted by a storm, 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co, 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turf Co. to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turf Co. was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turf Co. to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
It's here. The factory-authorized Liberty Safe truckload clearance event. For 3 days only, the Safe Market and Liberty Safes of Atlanta is slashing prices by up to 40% on top-quality American-made safes. Gun safes, home security safes, all must be sold. With 3 convenient locations, there's never been a better time to buy. Thursday, March 20th through Saturday, March 22nd only. Shop online or come into any of our 3 stores for more savings. Call 770-242-0055 or visit thesafemarket.com, 770-242-0055.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with the doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums, and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggies, a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at atlantasmiles.com.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
The Morning Extra has you covered until 10 a.m. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, and Buck Sexton at noon, and the Kimmer Show taking over at 3, only on Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10. Final segment. Bullets for love. Turn it up, dude.
He's feeling alive, but they don't get it. No matter how he tries, he's got to give. Na 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 na, searching for her. Na 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 na, a nice girl's move forward. He gave Kimmer's heart's a bullet wave.
So strong.
So good. This is such a wonderful song. I'm so glad we found it. You wouldn't believe there's a person on social media that reached out to us who said that this wasn't really a band. I was appalled.
I was appalled by that.
I couldn't believe what he was saying.
I think that's sacrilege.
I do too.
On Kimmer.
Yes. I mean, this
clearly.
It's obvious. Who puts together that great music?
Who would ever write a song about giving bullets away as gifts for Christmas?
Except somebody that knows Kimmer, loves Kimmer, because that's what he would do. And he loves the music too.
And that somebody would present a ring box, but it had a bullet inside rather than a diamond ring.
Yes. I mean, what a beautiful song. It should have been released on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Instead of near St. Patrick's Day.
Well,
that band needs to get their calendar in order.
Hopefully they'll be able to put something together for Kimmer for one of the holidays. Maybe like a Cinco de Mayo Kimmer album. You never know.
Ooh. Or maybe later in the year.
Mariachi style?
Maybe.
Oh, that'd be good. Or later in the year, like, I made it another Christmas. I've got more Christmas gifts to buy because they have that song that references that.
Like Rock and Roll Part 2, but Bullets for Love Part 2?
Yes. Something like that. Tug and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. Like I said, I want you to hear from David Sachs. He talked about the real reason that Dems are hysterical about the Doge cuts. I bet you've heard it on this show before, but I love hearing it from him, too.
You know, I was at the State of the Union, and I was up in the balcony. I was looking down at the Democrats holding up these silly little signs. The sign that I saw the most was one that said, Musk steals. You know, how is Elon stealing? He's returning money to the Treasury. And then it hit me. They actually have come to believe that this taxpayer money is theirs. And by returning it to the Treasury, Elon is stealing from them. That's my best explanation of why they're in such a hysterical state about this, because he, along with the president and at the president's direction, they are draining the swamp.
Because that money is theirs. It's not yours. It's not the American taxpayers. It shouldn't be refunded because the bureaucracy said, no, that comes in every year. We get this money every year. It's our money.
It's our money.
It's a great observation.
Yeah.
it's very smart because that is something that they've been able to do for so long that it's shocking to their core that somebody has the ability or even the willpower to take it away from them. They're like spoiled, rotten kids.
I have been on a podcast recently of, not me, like I'm listening.
Yep.
I'm not part of a cult leader podcast.
Maybe one day.
But if you're interested. But it covers cult leadership. And it talks about how the cult leader will eventually look at everyone as his. And their fervency for it is because, well, y'all all belong to me. And that's part of like the power he has over the people. What is going on, like, it feels like, is the bureaucracy, the federal government is like, no, that's mine. I can do with it what I want. That's my money. And what the underlying theme that runs through so many of these cult leaders, normally when we get into, we start looking into, what went on in like Jonestown with Jim Jones, when you look at it as your own possession, you look at it like you can abuse it in any way you want. It's yours.
Right.
And so that is where I believe this government looks at our dollars in the same way. It's like, what do you mean you want accountability for this? You belong to me.
I want to flip the script a little bit and go a different way because that's a great comparison. This one stands out to me. It's like when you have a 3-year-old and you've raised 2 daughters and I've raised a son. I would pick up his toys when he was 3. Jacob would be like, mine. It didn't matter which toy I picked up. Mine. Wasn't it always that? It didn't matter what you picked up. Mine. It could have been a couch cushion. Mine. And that's the way they think. Everything is theirs. They're acting like children because they've never been told no. They've had presidents stand in front of the nation and say, we're going to cut down on this fraud, waste, and abuse. We played you audio from Obama doing it, from George Bush doing it, Clinton doing it, Biden. They all did it. No one actually had the appetite to really do it. They talked about it. They want to do it. Now it's those in the bureaucracy that are going, no, mine. That's my money.
I think a lot of us looked at the swamp as power. Like, who do you have to fire? And then you recognize that the problem with the swamp is that it'll just be somebody else that steps in with the same power, and that's how the swamp just regenerates. What happens when you take the money away from it? And that's what you're seeing.
It can't regenerate.
It really is the lifeblood of the swamp. When you start removing the money, what they do, now you see the real fervor. Now you see the real anger. And to Democrats, especially like a woman like Elizabeth Warren, the harder she complains, the more the mask is off. That she's dependent on that. Same with Bernie Sanders. Everyone thought, Bernie's for us. Bernie's here for democratic socialist. No, Bernie is just BLM in a different package. It's here to take your money and use it for himself.
The influence that came with that money, too, because they were able to convince Americans that everything that was happening was just fine. Like they're able to tell you by their influence and the money that they spend in the media that this is a good thing. And they would have reporters saying, yeah, all this is great. This USAID is fantastic. Look at all the good work we're doing around the world. And then you drill down into the numbers like Elon Musk has, and it brings to light a whole bunch of things that you go, well, that's not at all what I support. What, you're using my money? No, the 3-year-old goes, mine.
Mine. You don't have access to this. This belongs to me.
But the beauty is they had that influence, right? Because they could pay off the media. The media shares the message. Aunt Peg and everybody else takes in the message and then regurgitates it.
I like, making analogies of things. Those blowfish?
Yeah.
They suck the air in. Suddenly they look really large.
Yeah, so they intimidate.
They can intimidate.
Yeah.
That's what they do with the media and your tax dollar. They are not a majority. They are a fraction of the government, yet they make themselves look bigger, badder, stronger than they actually are. What it's now taken is Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Batman and Big Balls, and they've ruined the thing.
That's right.
And so all they can do is give you the whole, like, I'm going to pump myself up. I'm going to look bigger. I'm more necessary. No. You're actually just a little thing that we can get rid of as long as we take the water away, your money.
Jure, can I ask you a question real quick?
Go for it.
Do you know any person that has protested in favor of limiting Elon Musk's ability to audit? Do you know anybody?
Personally?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Los, do you know anybody?
I live in Cherokee County, man.
Yeah, that's right. I live in Alpharetta, and it's split 50-50, blue and red. I don't know a soul that's been like, yeah, man, he shouldn't be able to look at all that.
What do you mean they're spending our money?
Yeah.
he's trying to stop that. That sounds awful.
Yeah, nobody's saying that. Only the people that work in the bureaucracy, only the people that are benefiting from it are the ones out in front protesting the cuts from Doge. That's it. Nobody else.
3 of the 4 highest per capita median incomes in the country in terms of counties, 3 out of the 4 surround D.C.
You weren't supposed to get rich in public service.
They reward themselves with your money, and now they're having problems doing that.
9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors. If you have any problems with the rain and the bad weather that we had around Metro Atlanta, give them a call, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. They can give you a good deal, and they have folks that are ready to do those emergency repairs right away. Over 200,000 jobs that they've done. southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co for Los and Board Op Sheree. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear? The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Trump's tariffs, 25%, Canada, Mexico, until they do something meaningful about the drug trafficking. But the left says it's going to mean that a car might cost as much as $4,000 more. To which I say, well, good.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.